The views expressed on the Midvale Main Street Theater podcast do not necessarily reflect the views of the Midvale Main Street Theater, its owners, advertisers, or volunteers.
Even just watching it before I did it, I was like, that's all I want to do. Like, be on stage and have people clap for me.
Gotcha. Exactly how
Which
I was.
is so dumb, though. Like,
no, it's not. Like,
why do we crave that?
We're all, like, in competition mode, too. Like, with just the process.
Especially during auditions.
Every performer.
Yeah, like, during We Will Rock You, I wanted to punch you in the face.
How would you like to live here, and how would you deal with, like, Asian fans and all this stuff?
How would you like to live in 5-star hotels, get
like,
all expenses
sounds
paid?
great to me.
Right. Me too,
I wish
sometimes.
every day, I'm like, I wish I cared nothing about music. Like,
is it kind of going back to, like, proving that you're supposed to be in that part? Like,
yeah. Do you guys hate rehearsing? Like,
theater is, sorry, but I feel like theater is what is real to us, and then, like, our day job is just kind of what's not.
Here we go. There we go. Don't speed it up, guys. The whole point of this is that, what is the whole point of this?
Hey guys, what's going on? It's Michael Howell. Welcome back to the Midvale Main Street Theater podcast. Hey, just a couple quick bits of news, and then we'll jump into today's very exciting episode. First thing is, thank you for indulging me last week. I hope you guys liked that little April Fool's joke that I played on you, but I did also want to follow up from 2 episodes ago. We did have our casting draft for Grease. If you haven't checked it out, please go check it out. It's an awesome listen, but did want to share the results here on the podcast for you guys, and just in case you're interested. Okay, so looking here, looks like the winner of the casting draft, and I apologize to the other contestants because this was not a very scientific little survey because people were able to vote on multiple casts. Anyway, looks like the total with 15 votes is my cast was the winner. So thank you guys for voting for me. It was an awesome episode, and I hope everyone liked listening to it. And again, thanks to all the contestants, quote unquote contestants in this. The next thing is that over the past 2 weeks, Midvale has announced a new show for you guys. They're calling it their Dare to Dream Children's Program Cabaret. So they do this, I'm not sure if it's for every children's production, but they do this fairly often. They kind of do a cabaret of different songs from different musicals, whatever else, with the children to kind of help fundraise for the children's production itself. So let me just kind of explain what this one is specifically. So essentially it is the Frozen Junior cast is going to be singing songs from all of their dream roles and dream shows. That's the Dare to Dream name. That's where that comes from. But yeah, they're going to be putting that on for everybody. It's going to be a pay-as-you-may at the door, which is great, but they'll also sell raffle tickets. They're doing a silent auction, other things like that, and all the proceeds will, again, be funneled right back into the Frozen Junior production to, make that the best that it can be. So yeah, if you guys are able to come, looks like it is on Friday, April 19th, so this coming Friday when you guys are listening to this. And please just plan on attending, plan on donating. Even if you can't make it out there, I'm sure that you could just stop by the theater sometime. Tammy would love to, grab that donation. And the last bit of news before we kind of jump into today's episode is definitely something that I wanted to and needed to bring up on the podcast for anyone that may not be aware. But one of our own, Taylor Heaps now, but Taylor Lawrence, who was on the podcast a couple episodes ago, her brother is in need of some help at the moment. He and Taylor's father have been living in Vietnam for the past 5 or 6 years, I believe, teaching English to students out there. Taylor's brother contracted a staph infection that started in his legs and his feet, but eventually has kind of apparently jumped up into his heart. And so obviously it's a very serious situation. They don't have any medical insurance out there, so any medical costs are going to have to be paid out of pocket. And once they had figured out that this disease had spread to his heart, they got the total needed for this surgery to get this open heart surgery done, and we're told that they have to pay this entire amount up front before the procedure can happen. So looks like they're looking to raise about $35,000 to get this all done for them. I just bring it up because, of course, I would hope and urge everyone listening to this to go try and donate. Any little bit helps here. I cannot even imagine how scary and how desperate this situation is. So if you have the time and if you have the money, please just hop onto GoFundMe and donate. As of recording, this is Saturday, the 13th of April. They are just inside of $5,000 left that they need. So, it's definitely achievable that we can go ahead and get the rest of this amount, but, it's going to have to come from people like us, trying to help the situation. So please go and donate. I will have a link to this GoFundMe page in the show notes here on this podcast episode. But yeah, even hop on Facebook. I've shared it on my personal Facebook. It's been going around. So, you can find it. I promise you. Just go ahead and hop on and donate if you can, please. Anyway, all of that out of the way. I did want to jump into today's episode now. My guest this week is a man by the name, well, I think it's either Leo or Cody Jensen. He has been at Midvale for a little bit now. He started in Spring Awakening originally back in, I believe, 2014, but then he's done Spring Awakening a second time there and is now the star of We Will Rock You at Midvale Main Street Theater. So I wanted to have him on because he's got some crazy stories. Number one, we get into him performing at Lagoon in Florida and then all over Asia. He toured with this band all over Asia. But then we also get into his music and his theater life, and we discuss a lot of interesting things within that. So yeah, I love this interview. Thank you so much, Leo, for coming on. I hope you guys enjoy it. So sit back, relax, and enjoy today's episode. Leo, I have a bone to pick with you.
Oh,
are you ready?
I'm ready.
Oh
no! No, I'm very happy.
No,
I missed this song.
It's a good song. That's my whole point.
He knows, though.
Okay, so I want to play this right now because Ashley and I are like obsessed with this song. It's way too catchy. Why would you do this to us?
You guys, when I first got into music, I was like, I'm gonna do my own music. When I first started, I was like, okay, what do I do? So I joined this agency, this management team. Mm-hmm. That was the first song. He's like, I have this song that you would sound so good on.
Oh, awesome.
And the original, I was like, what is this? It didn't sound like that. It sounded a little different.
What
Gotcha.
is this?
But he's like, you would be so good at this. We could release this as your first single. We'll just buy it, and then you can have it, and it's yours. And I was like, okay, cool. But it's not, like, I didn't write it, but I'm a singer-songwriter. So I'm like, am I lying? I don't
Gotcha.
know.
No.
Sure.
So bought that song and then re-recorded it and actually ended up loving it, but I was like, oh, I'm not really showing my voice. And then we got two of my friends that were under our same management, and that's who rapped on it.
Gotcha.
But I don't know that rap.
That's the thing.
Okay,
I know
all right.
the whole song and I don't know the rap.
No idea what they're saying.
And I want
Gotcha.
to learn the rap.
And there was no rap in the original.
Gotcha. Well, did you have a say in the writing process on it then? Did you say I want a rapper to come in or anything like that? No.
It was all the management. They
Gotcha.
were like, we're going to have the rapper do this, and you're going to sing this. And they're like, you can change, like, the melody if you want. You can add harmonies. And I was like, I have to. Like, this is boring.
Gotcha.
I have
So
to.
I did that.
Gotcha. Oh, cool.
And then there it is. And
Yeah.
I still love that song now. I'm like, oh.
I love
literally,
it.
I
like,
would love it if they heard it and nobody gets to hear it.
We hear it
Yeah,
all
we
the
hear
time.
it all the
and
time,
we've
and that's
shown
really
it to
what
people
matters.
too.
That's, I
but
love
yeah,
it.
Wait, Michael, what was the bone to pick? Because that's what you said.
it gets caught in my head way
Oh.
too often.
You
Like
can
I lie awake at night with taking over.
I'm
Just
kind of mad
in
I
my
didn't
head.
sing that at the birthday party because I have an acoustic version that I've done.
Are you
Gotcha.
serious?
Do it.
Oh, I
just
got to
do
hear
it.
that.
I know.
I
me
gotta
too.
hear the acoustic
It's
version.
just very
So I can, like,
it's very
fangirl over
slow
it.
and cute.
Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, yeah, it's
I
a great
love that
song, but
song.
Well, thanks.
I thought it would be a proper introduction to our guest today. Leo Cody Jensen is our guest. Say hi, Leo.
Oh, hey. I'm so excited.
Good. And I also have Ashley here. Say hi.
Afterthought. Hi.
Just kidding.
Yep.
I'm just kidding.
No, she's going to
guessing her
help
too.
me. She's
I
going to
know.
help me
I like
explore
guessing
the
her too.
person that is Leo.
Yeah.
So,
Here we go.
Yeah, here we go.
Can't wait.
Yeah, it's
Can't
going to be good.
Don't have to wait because
I mean,
it's now.
here it is.
Exactly. Well, I wanted to have you on because you have a show coming up at Midvale. We will rock
Yeah.
you. But we'll get to all that in due time for sure. But why don't we just start off with young Cody? That's kind of where I like to start off with people. So
Okay.
yeah, just describe kind of like not toddler, but like child Cody.
Child.
Describe
Yeah.
your infant years.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I feel like I lead with this story in everything in my life.
Perfect.
But I was like this obese child. I grew up like it was so weird because I didn't ever feel fat. But I was like, I definitely was. And my dad made sure I knew. He was like,
Oh, shoot.
You want to eat that?
Oh.
Thanks,
no.
Dad.
You were like, yeah, actually I do.
Ouch. Yeah, I'm hungry.
Yeah. Gotcha. Wow.
So grew up very fat, and then I always wanted to perform, and
Okay.
I did. I started when I was like 9 or 10. I think.
Okay, cool.
I was in that performing group called On Stage Productions.
All right. So
Yes,
that's
I
more like a
literally
a
thought-
singing, dancing kind of
Yeah.
thing.
I thought he
Okay.
was going to say encore
I
when he was
thought
like,
so, too.
on.
I mean, the exact same.
Because that's
Yeah.
But yeah.
where Cass and I met. Yes.
Gotcha.
yes.
Sure.
So did that all growing up from like that age till I was, I think, high school till like 17.
Yeah.
Gotcha, sure. So when you did this stuff, what brought you into it? Like, how did you even find out about it? Or
So we were at the state fair. I remember it perfectly. We were watching On a Stage, and they were doing a show, and I was like, "What is that?" And I like made my mom come watch it. My rest of my family's like riding rides and stuff. I'm like, "Mom, let's watch this thing." So we were watching it, and then she's like, "I was like, I want to do that," and she's like, because my mom has always tried to protect me. Like, she doesn't want me to be made fun of, like anything. So she was like,
Aw, like
I'm not
moms
sure
do.
if
Yeah.
you should do it.
oh no,
But she was like, if you want to, we can do it.
sure.
So
That's awesome.
she went and like my mom went and talked to the person like running the sound. And she's like, how does he get into this if he wants to do this? So they found out. I had like go to this audition. I sang Hakuna Matata.
Yes.
Lion
Nice.
King.
Yes.
In a Hawaiian shirt.
I love. Even better.
Yeah.
Even better.
And I got in like right there. The lady was like, "Oh, you can keep a tune. Like that's great. That's all we need."
As a
So-
boy, I'm sure it was if
like,
you can
"Yes,
keep some
please."
kind of
Yeah.
tune. Exactly.
But I hated I loved it, but I hated like backstage because we had costume changes. I'd have to change, and I'm like the biggest one. And
Sure.
like when I watch old videos, and I'm like watching me like try to get up off the ground and stuff,
Oh no.
dancing. I'm like, oh
Shoot.
my gosh, it's so embarrassing. And Mom's like, but you did so good. You were trying so hard.
Sorry, she sounds like the cutest person. Can
Thank
we
you.
interview her
Um,
next? She sounds adorable.
She would love it.
Gotcha.
So wait,
yeah.
was this the kind of group that like did they go on tours like outside of the state and that type of thing?
No, we only stayed here. They had a group that did go on tours out of the state, but I wasn't in that group till later when I finally lost weight. And they were like, "Oh, you can be in a big group now."
Oh,
Gotcha.
That's what it took.
Gotcha. Wow.
But yeah, so that's what got me started, and I just loved singing. And Mom was like, "Oh, you actually can sing."
You can sing.
And I'm like,
Gotcha.
"Yeah, thanks, Mom."
that's
So it
probably
was
the best
after-
realization for a parent. That's
Sure.
like yes.
Yeah, but it was after you wanted to audition for this, and like actually after you got in, she finally was like, "Oh yeah, he can
Yeah.
do this." Gotcha. Because I remember I had something very similar, so it's kind of funny how that goes. But is this kind of when you started learning guitar as well, or was that kind of later down the line?
I didn't learn guitar for a very long time.
Okay.
Like my dad pressured me from the time he knew that I could sing. He'd be like, "You should learn guitar. You could like play your own shows." And I was like, "Ew. I just
Ew.
want
Gotcha.
to. I just want to sing."
Interesting. Okay. So, but you wanted to be like the singer, songwriter, performer kind of deal. Gotcha. So, perfect. What did you learn, I guess, from these performances that kind of maybe led into what you do today, if anything?
I guess like just that I loved it. Like even just watching it before I did it, I was like, "That's all I want to do." It was like
Sure.
be on stage and have people clap for me.
Gotcha.
Exactly how
Which
I was.
is so dumb though. Like,
No, it's not. Like-
why do we crave that? I don't
Yeah,
know.
gotcha. It's interesting because
I love it.
that wasn't why I started doing stuff. It was because, well, theater mostly was just because my friends were in it, but songwriting was separate from the performances, and I almost didn't love the performances as much as like writing it out and just
Really?
having it exist. Yeah, I don't know what it was,
That's so weird.
For me, it's like always been that like
Well,
thrill
I'm
that you
sure-
can even tell that like other people are having on stage. Like I wanted that.
Yeah.
Right.
And like that feeling will never get old for me still. So it's just like that thrill that you get when you're on stage.
Well, and I'm sure your guys is more typical of a theater
That's probably
person,
true, yeah.
So yeah, just interesting. But anyway, that all does kind of lead into high school. Did you do theater in junior high, or was it high school you kind of jumped in?
No, I didn't. I don't think I did.
My
I did
junior high didn't
stage
even-
crew in junior high because I was like,
Mine
That
didn't even
sucks.
do any
What?
theater.
I was like, I don't want to do theater. Like,
Yeah.
that's not really
He's
my
like,
thing.
I don't want to be a thespian.
Well, yeah, I was like, that's not really my thing. But then once I got to high school, that's when I was like, oh, like
This is
that's
kind of
all
fun.
I have to do.
That's what this is,
If I had
yeah.
to sing because I'm not doing choir. I
Yeah.
hate choir.
Oh, fuck choir.
but
What?
I did do choir still.
Yeah,
but hated
gotcha.
it.
I took the required course of choir, like the one, and then
It
didn't
sucks.
learn how to read music at all, as you witnessed, like the last time we hung out and you wanted me to sing harmonies with you.
Hey, that's all
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, gotcha.
No, but the weird thing, the thing that like brought me out of my shell and like did, I think it changed me was in junior high because I did band,
Gotcha.
and then stage crew. But my 9th grade year, I was like, okay, this is my last year here. I was like, they brought the talent show and they're like, hey, we have auditions. So I came and I sang, and everyone was like,
Blown away.
oh, you sing. And I was
Gotcha.
like, yeah. And the choir teacher started crying.
Wow.
And I was like,
What'd you sing?
I'll Be
Oh,
my favorite. That's why I always play that song.
I was
in my
gonna say,
shows, 'cause
yeah.
it's
Yeah.
like the song that brought me out
Yeah.
of my shell, I guess.
yeah.
Sure. Gotcha.
So that was the thing, and I sang in front of everyone, and everyone was like, "Oh, you sing," and then that's when everyone started to like me, I guess. Oh, you're fun now.
Gotcha.
Cody's like, this rocks. People like me because of this.
Right. Oh, sorry if you guys hear that. My son is a little excited. He
Salem
might
loves
jut
that
in a
song
little
as
bit.
well,
Yeah.
is what it is.
That's his favorite song.
Right.
What is he doing?
Just watching, sitting at the door.
Yeah. He's got his favorite TV show on, and he's just kind of watching it right now. But, well, cool. So in 9th grade, you kind of broke out of your shell, got up on stage, and obviously rocked it. What what made you make that transition from that into high school and theater?
I don't actually even know. Like, I just once I sang in front of everyone, then I wasn't scared to sing in front of anyone anymore.
Sure.
And then I realized the only way I was going to be able to sing by myself in front of people was in theater.
Sure.
Because I was like, I could do choir, but then you're just in the back, everyone with together. I'm
Yeah.
like, hey, choir.
This is going to sound weird from a theater kid, but the choir kids are weird.
Yeah,
They suck.
are.
They are.
And there was
They were
this
in my
war
school.
because madrigals is like the top.
Right.
Is that what it's called in
Yeah.
high school? Madrigals. And then we had like our top theater class. And my senior year, they were like, if you're in madrigals, you can't do productions.
You're
If
like
in
done.
productions,
Okay.
You can't do madrigals. So I was
Yeah.
like, okay, well, I'm doing productions because they do shows.
Sure.
Yeah.
And our choir teacher was like, oh, well, we'll make an exception for you and
Nice.
for like these other two people. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm still not doing it.
Yeah.
You're like, you guys wear weird clothes.
Yeah,
Right.
I don't want to wear that apron.
I just remember those dresses. I just remember the dresses, and I'm like, no.
They always smelled. Because
did?
you have to wear the same dress for every
Oh,
show.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
I remember.
Yeah.
Ew.
Yeah.
That's sick.
Well, at Brighton, because you went to Brighton
Yeah.
along with me.
Everyone went to Brighton.
Everyone went to
Yeah.
Brighton. It's
so
crazy.
Eric went there, which is kind of crazy. Our buddy went there.
Yeah.
That's where my
We just
parents
found
went
that out.
too.
Yeah.
My parents
just
were
crazy.
the first students. What are they called? Like charter students.
Oh.
If they're the first ones
The
there.
first ones that
They were
ever went there.
yeah.
Wow. Gotcha. Yeah, it's just crazy how many Brighton kids ended up
Yeah.
at
Well,
Midvale.
I'm
but,
Bingham, so.
right. But how Brighton set up is the choir room and the theater room is like right down the hall from each
Yeah.
other, and you could just smell them. You could just smell that wafting
Yeah.
coming out of there. You're like, I know exactly what you're talking
It's so
about.
sick.
Ew.
Yeah.
So yeah, good choice is what I'm trying to say here.
Yeah.
But so do you remember your first audition in front of Phaedra, the infamous Phaedra
Oh,
on this
yes.
podcast?
I'm loving that we
Because-
can talk about this.
Yes.
This is because so my 10th grade year we had a different teacher, a brand new teacher they brought into Brighton for that year. Her name was Penny Paskett. I don't know. This
Sure.
might not be correct.
She's like,
It was terrible.
I'm sure she listened,
We did.
so.
I can think of the song, but I can't think
Sing
of what
it.
it's called. 7.5 cents doesn't buy a hell of a lot. Pajama Game.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Mhm.
Awful show. So stupid.
Awful show.
We did that for the big musical. Then she had she had a musical theater class, so I was in that. We put this whole show together, and at the last minute, she was like, "We're not doing it. I don't like it. I can't put any more time into it."
Wow.
So I fired her.
Good.
We did nothing
Can't
that
put
year,
any more time into it.
and I'd always heard like at Brighton, you only get parts if you're a senior. They're like, we give all the best parts to their seniors.
Sure.
That's what they always said at my
So
school
then
too.
Phaedra came in the next year. We did Guys and Dolls. I just wanted to be Nicely Johnson so bad. And he was like the chubby, funny one.
That was
So
one
I
of my
like-
high school shows too.
So I was like, I want to do it. And so I auditioned and got it.
Nice.
And then
As a junior, right?
yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
And that's like where I met all my best friends. Everyone was like older than me, but we were all such good friends.
Yeah.
And then we ended up doing this show called like Mother Hicks, which was a straight play. And then we did like a musical review at the end of the year.
Okay.
And
I
then
did
they
too
all
my senior year.
left.
But,
Well, no, they still have one more year.
Oh no, but your friends, your senior
Oh,
friends.
yeah.
right.
And they all
What,
left.
Yeah.
Let me stop
My-
you there. Was that hard? Because I most of my friends my junior year were seniors, and then they had to
Yeah.
leave, and I had to find new friends all over again.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the thing was I wasn't friends with anyone my own age because
That's
they'd
what I
come
remember.
from Butler with
Yeah.
me. So I was like, and they were the ones that like made fun of me or like weren't nice to me.
Sure.
And so I'm like, I don't
So-
want to be your friend now.
Yeah.
Was this is a weird question, but was it the weight that they were kind of making fun of then? Okay.
All the time.
Yeah, gotcha.
So then that fall of junior year, we auditioned for next year for
Right.
Seussical. And so because I was fat, Phaedra was like, "Oh, you'll be the perfect Horton. You'll be an elephant. It'll be so great."
Did she
that
talk
was-
to you beforehand then?
Yeah.
Gotcha,
Well, she was
okay.
like, she's like, "I need you to audition for the part," and I'm like, "Okay, I will." I'm like, I only want to be that part.
Right. Well, that's the
So,
only good part in that show.
I did it and got cast, and then that summer is the summer that my whole family went on this big diet, and that's when I lost like 50 pounds over that summer.
Gotcha.
Your whole family did it?
Yeah, we did the South Beach diet.
Yes.
So we-
Maybe you need to teach me how to do that because I need some help.
Yeah, us. Can you bring that from your family to ours,
Yeah.
please? Thanks.
Yeah.
Including
Oh, man.
Salem. Oh, no,
But-
that was a bad thing to say. He's very cute and chubby.
But we came back from summer break, and she was so mad. She was like,
Really?
she
Oh,
was like,
because
I
of
cast
Horton.
you in that part
Oh.
for that, and now you're skinny.
Wait.
And I'm like, okay,
That is a
but
shit thing to say.
It is. And
Wow.
Does
in
it
high
surprise you? Because
school-
you knew Phaedra, so
It
does
kind of
Yeah.
does.
Really?
Yeah,
it
I
doesn't.
can't imagine her saying that. That is crazy.
She
to
got
me.
mad. And
She got mad and wanted you to get fat again.
She didn't even ask me. No, she didn't ask me to get fat again, but she was like, I can't believe you did this to me after I
Oh my
cast you.
god,
And I'm like,
that is.
You're like,
you? I'm like, we're in
Yeah.
high school, and thank you. Like, thanks.
Has she
Like, I
not
had
like
to work
seen someone
hard.
stuff a pillow down a shirt? Like,
Well, that's
what
the
is the
thing.
problem with that?
Yeah.
I don't know. That is shit to
Well,
me.
and the funny thing was, the next show we did was a straight play called The Good Doctor,
Mm-hmm.
and the part I had to play was this huge. It was a big part of the show that I had to be this fat, like reverend or something. I don't know. I was getting
Gotcha.
a tooth pulled out, but they stuffed my shirt. Like they put all this stuff in it. I'm like,
It sounds
the
like that's
time
just
I
like who you
finally-
were to her. Like
Yeah,
even
just
after you
the
like
fat
lost
dude.
weight,
Okay.
like that was just like where her mind went.
Yeah.
So, did you feel that at all from her? Because I think that she did kind of compartmentalize kids.
She
I feel like a lot of
actually,
people.
after she talked to me about it, she was fine. She was nice.
Hmm.
And me and Phaedra were like, we weren't even student teachers. We were like friends.
Gotcha.
So she would talk to me on a different level.
Sure.
Like sometimes I would like cry to her. I'm like, you're being so mean to me. And she's like, I am your teacher. I'm making you better. I'm like, okay, great.
Yeah, sure.
But so after like she initially saw me and was like, oh, you lost all this weight. I hate it. I cast you for your look and for your singing. And I'm like, cool, thanks.
Right.
But
for
so
your
the-
look and secondary for your singing, it's
yeah.
fine.
But it worked out.
Sure.
Like I didn't have to be fat. White. I just wore
No.
a gray outfit. And
Yeah.
I was an elephant. It didn't matter.
Sure.
Yeah.
So, kind of just to stop you right here, was this your first lead in a show?
I think
Yeah.
it was. Yeah.
Was
Yeah,
that
that was.
that nerve wracking at all?
No.
No.
I was so ready.
Cool.
I was so ready for that.
And were you just primed from your Guys and Dolls and other things like that? You were just like,
Yeah.
I know how to do this.
Even like,
Okay.
even my sophomore year when I didn't get any part, I was just in chorus. I was like, this is not where I should be.
Sure.
And I'm like, I'm better than this, which is, I know, that's so stupid. and
No.
No, it's
egotistical,
not.
but,
I think
like,
that everyone has a little bit of, ego
Yeah.
doing this. You have to
Yeah.
get up in front of people to do
That's
stuff
true,
like
that's
this,
true.
So that makes sense.
I feel
but-
like we're all like in competition mode too, like with just the process. we go
Especially
through,
during
so
auditions.
every performer.
Yeah, like during We Will Rock You, I wasn't even really wanting Galileo, but I wanted to punch you in the face. I don't know what it was, Leo. So
Michael.
totally kidding.
I totally get it.
Totally
I
get
it. I want to punch everyone in the face. And
Right. It's
I hate
just
all of you.
it's just that you're clearly like so much better than me. I don't know. Anyway,
No, okay.
I know we've
We're not
we've
delving
thought about
into
this
This has
before.
gone down a dark path, and
Right.
I will take it upon myself to.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Segue into a
Yeah.
new thing.
Taking the high road, Ashley. Gotcha. Okay, so from there, and I heard this from Charity. She might not know what the hell
I'm
she's
sorry, what was the
talking
name?
about. Charity.
What's the real name?
Charity.
What was yours too? Yours
Inside
was so
jokes.
good.
I
It was
already
like
forgot.
Leo Cody.
That's it. Yeah.
You're like, what was it?
So if
Leo
you-
Dakota Gaha.
Yeah, if you don't know what to call him, Leo
Right.
Cody is always a good viable option.
Oh
will
man,
take it.
inside jokes. Inside jokes are always good.
Geography joke. You had to be there.
But she said that after Seussical and then after Good Doctor, you said was your straight play there. Phaedra knew that she was going to do Joseph and came to talk to you about it.
Yeah.
Okay, how did that conversation go?
That's a thing. This is so weird.
Right.
She was like,
I'm kind of leading you here.
she's like, oh, okay, well, you lost too much weight for Seussical. You were supposed to be fat. And then, like, but
You let me
we are
down.
doing Joseph. She's like, if I cast you, you'll be shirtless on stage, so you might want to lose some more. I'm like, okay.
All of this is so inappropriate.
I know.
It really
In
is.
high school
I
too.
know.
Okay, it
Ugh.
did. I'm not mad about it because it did change my life. Like,
Sure.
but yeah, so we did Seussical, we did The Good Doctor. We cast for Joseph before Christmas break.
Okay.
So I was up
The
against
perfect time to
McKay
try and
Crockett,
lose weight.
if anyone knows who that is.
Right? Who?
McKay Crockett.
I do. Yep.
So
I'm gonna go fuck myself.
it was,
No, he was at Brighton.
it was
guy.
us.
Oh, it's a
together.
person. I thought it
Yeah,
was
it's a person.
like a role, and I was like, okay.
I was up against this old McKay Crockett role that I was trying to get. No, but it was him and I in the final thing. Like, Phaedra even cleared out the room, and it was just him and I
Wow.
singing every Joseph song. She kept having us go back and forth.
And then she was like,
Jeez.
"Take your shirts off." No, I'm just kidding.
Luckily,
Just kidding.
Yeah. Gotcha.
So this time, I just like was giving it everything I had, and I was like, I really want this part.
Wow.
Then we found out right before Christmas break, and I got it. And she was like, sorry, McKay, like he did better than you. I'm like,
Sorry,
finally,
McKay, you
finally.
suck.
So, just to stop you again, how did that feel being in the room with just him? Like, were you just really pissed at him, like we were talking about, or like?
I don't think "pissed" is the right word for
I
that,
wasn't
but
pissed. I was like, I looked up to him because we did like Brighton used to do this Brighton Idol competition.
Oh yeah, I did it. I got
And,
second place in it.
I got
think.
second place
Yeah.
twice to McKay.
Oh man.
So I was
gotcha.
like, because he would write his own songs and play them, and I was like,
And do
oh,
originals?
You're fucking amazing. Yeah.
and I'm gonna
Yeah.
sing Hakuna Matata.
in my Hawaiian shirt, I'm going to pull that out of the trunk.
But so I like was intimidated by him because I was like, oh, you're way above me. But so when I got it, I was like blown away.
Yeah.
But then immediately I went home and I was like, Mom, we have to do something. It's like, I have to be naked on stage.
South Beach round
That's
2.
gotta be
Yeah,
so.
so I did go back on South Beach. My mom, for Christmas, bought me a personal trainer. Like, that
Wow.
was my big present. She's like, you could go for like 2 months to this personal trainer. And it was great. Like,
Yeah, sure.
All worked out, but so stressful.
Sure.
And she even my personal trainer came to the show. She's like, oh, I have to
Gotcha.
come see you be shirtless on stage.
She's like, that's my.
And I kind
My
of got
work right there.
obsessed. Like, I would go and just cardio for days, and she would like see me in the gym and be like, "You've done enough today."
Oh yeah.
Go home.
So
Gotcha.
She had
That's-
to calm me down.
Yeah. You get obsessed, not you particularly, but like
You,
people
Cody.
get obsessive
Yeah.
with that sometimes. Like I've crashed dieted so many times and
Yeah,
It-
and it works.
it
for that
works
minute, but
for
then you're,
that,
like,
and then-
so yeah,
yeah,
I know.
it's hard. And it obvious, like I feel like because I've done that, my body is not able to perform as well now.
That's what
you
I
know?
think.
Yeah, for
like
sure.
The diets I've done, I'm like, maybe my body doesn't respond as normal like
Yeah.
everyone else's.
Sure. I'm sure it does. Yeah, that's crazy. But so Joseph happens. Do you remember anything about that show in particular, or?
Joseph was the show that changed my life, I think.
Okay, why is
'Cause
that?
that's the one that transformed me the most. And then,
Was it the most difficult one for you?
yeah,
Okay.
like, that's when Phaedra yelled at me the most for. Because she said she was like, I need you to be more, like, out loud and confident and, like, be a douche. She didn't say douche. I don't know.
I would have loved it if she said
But I
douche.
know. But I'm just like, okay, but that's not me. So I had to, like, find it to be that.
So it was your first like character that you had to build.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
to be like outside of myself, which was hard. But then once it happened, and once I got where she wanted me to be, and she was like giving me compliments, I was like, "Wow, this is
Sure.
the first time you like me." Like,
Gotcha.
I know we're friends, but
Sure.
you like
man.
me now.
Yeah. Do you have a specific rehearsal that happened in, or?
I don't
anything?
even think it was a rehearsal. I think it was opening night that I
Oh,
finally
okay.
hit it.
Gotcha.
And it was the scariest thing in my life, knowing like all these people that I've known my whole life as like the fat dude were gonna see me on stage, not fat anymore.
Oh, yeah, that-
and like shirtless.
Yeah,
Had
I'm
to
sure
have felt
that is
amazing.
liberating
So,
at least.
it
But
was
then,
like so crazy.
sure.
And then singing these songs that like were actually like songs I liked because they weren't like just musical theater. They're like pop
You
music.
like Joseph.
I just like like close every door.
Yeah.
I could sing that.
No, the problem with that show is that every song is so freaking catchy.
It's true.
Yeah, so I get you. But
No, it's just a joke because it's so overdone here.
Yeah.
That's
Exactly.
the only reason.
Everyone
Yeah.
hated it in the beginning. It's the Mormontown, USA.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
oh man, well, I mean, this all kind of leads perfectly because let me ask it this way: what were you planning on doing after high school?
Music. That was
Okay.
it.
All right. Because I read, and I should have brought it with me, but there's an online profile of you that I read that you, I have to,
I'm
as
scared.
part of the podcast,
Part of the
you, right. No, but you went and auditioned for a cover band and went and toured in Asia.
Oh, yeah.
Like right after high school,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Well, that was okay. I'll give you the history.
Okay.
So
That's what we're here
left
for.
high school, went to SUU for one semester because they had a performing thing, a performing group that was just like what I did growing up. That's why I went there, because I was too scared to audition for Young Ambassadors at BYU.
Gotcha.
Even though I went to Young Ambassador camp every summer.
And
all
McKay
growing
Crockett
up.
went there and got in, so
Yeah.
you could have beaten him.
I
You
know.
You could have taken his spot.
Well, and I
Would have been
totally
perfect.
could have done it. I just was like too intimidated, so I was
Sure.
like, I'm not gonna audition, so I never did. But went to SUU, got in because Phaedra did it. That's who told me about it.
Young Ambassador? Or no, the SUU
It was
program?
called Acclimation.
Gotcha, sure.
She's like, you should go do this. So I did it. Hated SUU so much. Quit halfway through.
Why is
So
that?
like the community, like the city, it was too small for
Gotcha.
me, and like I don't know. I didn't get along with my group really. I don't know why.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I don't
Well,
know.
it's kind of like a mini Provo down there, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
yeah,
that might be the
it's too
problem.
little. Yeah.
Yeah.
So did that. Then I moved home in December because it was the end of the first semester. Then I was like, I'm not doing school anymore. Like, I don't even care about school. I don't know why I did it.
Yeah.
And then that's when I auditioned for Lagoon for the 6th time. Finally
Yes,
made
that's
it.
right. I
I
totally
think that's
forgot about that part.
crazy.
Yeah.
So, were you auditioning for Lagoon in high school then? Sounds
Yeah.
like okay.
So
all the way
they
through.
let you audition when you're 14
Okay.
for the shows.
Wow, 14.
And is
So I
that
started
like, right when
Yep.
you went?
Every
Wow.
year. Went every year. But being like the chubby kid, like they don't care how good your voice is. You have to look good on stage. So I never got picked. And my 5th time, I got picked to go through all the way to the end, and then just didn't get cast. And I was like,
Shoot.
but I still kept going.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
yeah, I want to do it
was
so
your
bad.
thing.
So I
Sure.
finally got it that summer.
And how did that feel?
The best. Like that was my goal at that point. Like
Yeah.
that was the ultimate goal. I want to work at Lagoon, singing those shows.
Get paid for it?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
So I reached it. And I got cast in one show, and then during orientation when we showed up, they cast me as the swing for the other show. So I was like doing 2 shows, and sometimes I would
Wow.
literally do both shows. I would run from this stage to this stage.
Oh wow.
And I was like, wow, that's a lot for like a first time
Sure.
person.
But they must have had a lot of trust in you,
Yeah.
you know.
So I felt good. So I did that for that year, and then my parents didn't go to school, so they were like, we don't care, but maybe you should because you're not doing anything else. So that next fall, I went back to school. I went to Slick, and I did their fitness tech program.
Sure.
I did that for the full year, but I was just like, I still
Not
don't
interested.
want it. Like, if I want to be a personal trainer, like, I just go do a certification and be done.
Sure.
Like, I don't have
Gotcha.
to go through school.
But it was because music was still driving you.
Yeah.
Sounds like. Sure. So is that when you went and auditioned for this band?
I did that, and then I did Lagoon again the next summer.
Okay.
And then that summer is when I was like, this isn't everything. Oh, it's still another thing between there.
Sure.
So then that summer, while I was at Lagoon, I was like, there's got to be like better things to do. So that's when I started researching like cruises and other theme parks and other places. So I sent a video VHS tape.
Yes.
Like cut and pasted with 2 VCRs, like pause, play, record.
Yes.
Right.
Made a video reel, and sent it to Busch Gardens.
Please
in
tell me
Florida.
you still have this.
I'm sure I do.
This needs to be shared with the world, dude.
I can't even imagine what's on it.
Do you ever look back at any of your old things and be like,
Yeah,
what the
be
hell?
like, what
Ugh.
was I doing?
Some of even my Midvale shows, I'm like, what were you doing?
So I sent in this VHS
Yes.
in like a puffy manila envelope. You know?
Yes,
Right.
the padded ones.
So then all of a sudden, randomly, one day at my house, this was the moment that I was like, I made it.
Sure.
I get this envelope in the mailbox, and it's like from Florida. It's like, hey, fill this out and send it back ASAP. So I did. Then, like 2 days later, I'm driving to Lagoon, and we always carpooled, so there was like a group of us in the car. And I get this call, and it says Florida, and I'm like, should I
Can it
answer
be?
it or should I not? And so I answer it, and this girl's like, hey, this is so-and-so from Busch Gardens in Tampa. She's like, do you have a minute to talk? And we're on the way to do shows. So I'm like,
Right.
Like,
I think so. I pull off Centerville, and I'm like in the Carl's Jr. parking lot. I remember this so well.
Sure.
We're sitting there, and she's like, so we really love your tape. We want to hire you. She's like, how willing are you to come to Florida? And I'm like, I want to get out of
I've
Utah
been
so
packed
bad.
for forever. Yeah.
you're like, I'm there already.
Yeah. So she's like,
Where are you?
She's like, well, how would you feel if we gave you like $2,000 to move here?
Wow.
I'm like, okay. And then she's like, but she's like, we only want to hire you part-time. And I was like, no. I was like, I can't move across the country for a part-time job.
Right.
So she's like, well, we don't hire a lot of full-time people because we have so many performers. And I was like, well, I can't. And she's like, okay, we'll hire you full-time. And I was
Wow.
like, oh, okay. So she's like,
Awesome.
okay, so you're going to have to come here by like, I think I started on December. It was like right after my birthday. No, right before my birthday. So she's like, you'll have to get here by this date. We'll do orientation, and then you'll start in this show called Christmas from the Heart. She's like, it's a gospel show, and there's like a lot of black people. She's like, but your voice will fit in. I'm like, okay. So
Interesting.
I get there. So all in all, we end up there. I got an apartment. Like I had them help me find an apartment really close to the amusement park. I had a literal 40-hour-a-week job, full-time singing.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
What you
I
wanted
had,
to do.
benefits. It was awesome.
Sure.
And I was in a show. I was the only white person in the show.
Oh, wow.
I'm like, oh, it's a lot of black people. Or it's white?
Right. There's a
So they all called me white chocolate when I got there. I'm like,
That's awesome. That's awesome.
but it was like this gospel Christmas show because I got there right at Christmas time. And then after that, they opened this brand new show called Rock-a-Doo-Wop. And I had all the lead parts, but
Wow.
because of how many performers they have, you're like, you walk in the morning and it says like, boy 1, boy 2, boy 3, boy 4, and you know what they sing, and they'll just put your name by one of them.
Wow. Jeez.
So at the beginning, it was great. Like I was getting all the singing parts, but then once they found out like I could move, like not even dance, like just
Gotcha,
move,
yeah.
and they started putting me at boy 4, which was like, you sing one song and then you had to like dance this number.
And it's
Right.
a lot of work,
Okay,
right?
but that's not why I'm here.
Yeah.
Right.
yeah.
Sure. So,
So-
did you have to talk to anybody about that?
Yeah, I did. I talked to like our manager, but he was like, "Well, you're the only one that moves besides singing." And I'm like, "Okay, well, so I get screwed out of singing."
Right. That.
So I ended up hating it. I
Sure.
loved it in the beginning. Then we did that show from the time the Christmas one ended, like January 5th, till the next Christmas. And then I got cast in the Christmas one again. And I was like, okay, well, I'm not staying all of Christmas. I was like, my contract was a year. So I'm going home as soon as that's over.
So how did you feel? I mean, it sounds like you were on the way out anyway, but was it hard to leave this job where you were getting paid to do what you wanted? Sure.
And to not know what I was going to do when I got home. Like, I went home with no job, and like I knew I could go back to Lagoon, which I did. But then I still had to, like, I worked at Zupa's as a delivery driver.
Right.
And, like,
had to have something
then
else.
Nordstrom.
Yeah.
Like, so it kind of sucked to go from that to that. And I would take that anytime just to perform.
Sure.
But I was in the show with, like, people that were, like, 35 to 45. Like, and
in
that's
Florida.
their full-time job. And
Right.
It's like,
And you
okay,
come back
well,
to Lagoon where you're with, like, teenagers.
Teenagers,
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, I did this cool thing for full time, but I'm like, also, I don't want to be those adults that this is their full time job.
Sure.
And they hated it too. Like, they were like, we sing the same songs every day. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah, gotcha.
So,
So, does this finally lead into the touring band?
Yep.
Okay. We made it there. Cool. So you, how'd you find out about that?
Craigslist.
Okay. Old school. I like it. Old
So
fashioned way.
weird. So I was doing Lagoon, working all these dumb jobs. I was actually at Nordstrom, working in the bistro, the food place upstairs. I saw this posting, and it was like, we need male singers. You'll get an all expenses paid trip to Asia. You get to live in 5-star hotels. You perform every night. Full-time job. So I was
You're like,
oh,
yup.
that's what I want.
Yeah. Sounds amazing.
So they were like, just send some videos. So I sent videos.
He's like,
thinking
so I
nothing.
whipped out that VHS from.
Right.
That's when I had to like graduate to YouTube. I'm like, oh, here's some
Right.
YouTube links. What is
Sure.
this?
Yeah.
So I did that, and then like it was like a while before I heard. I sent that, I think, the start of the summer season of Lagoon. So I just started that year of Lagoon. We were performing every day. Then like August, I get this email from this lady, and she's like, hey, we loved your audition. Okay, here's 3 songs. She's like, we need them fully memorized. You have to post them on YouTube, and then we'll let you know. And she's like, in 48 hours.
Wow.
So I'm like, oh, 2 days while I'm
Wow.
performing all day and working at night. Like,
Right.
So I'm like, okay. And it was Apologize by One Republic. It was a Maroon 5 song. Harder to Breathe. This Love.
Okay.
And then Where's the Love by Black Eyed Peas, the rap.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
What? So I did it.
Do you remember
for
it? Can
Black
you-
Eyed Peas,
can you
for the Black Eyed
perform
Peas
it now?
one?
Wait, this is a better. Are these still on YouTube?
Oh, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, I think
I'm gonna go
so.
take them down.
No.
He's like, no,
People
no,
need
no,
to
they're
hear
not.
these.
They're gone. So I did the first 2 fine, the singing ones, and then Black Eyed Peas. My mom literally we wrote the lyrics on an easel, like a big
Yes.
poster book, and she cut a hole in it and put the camera in the middle so it looked like I was looking at the camera.
That's awesome.
While I was reading the words.
That's
Right.
amazing.
And
See, she's the cutest mom.
She is
I
very.
know,
She's
she's so
adorable.
helpful.
Yeah.
so, yep. So then after that, they were like, "Oh, we love that. Cool." She's like, "Can you stay up till 2 a.m. on this day because of the time difference? And we're gonna call and have a phone interview." And I was
Oh,
like,
gotcha.
"Sure." So I'm like, I like fell asleep. I remember, and I set an alarm like 1:50, and I'm like, "What?" And then my phone rings, and it's this guy that's in Asia, and we just talked, and he was just like, "How would you like to live here? And how would you deal with like Asian fans and all this stuff?" And
How
I'm
would you like to
"Yeah,
live in
cool."
5-star hotels,
Yeah, I'm
get
like,
all expenses
sounds
paid?
great to me.
Right.
So after that, he's like, "Well, we'll let you know tomorrow." So then the whole day at work, I'm like, "Can I use your computer?" To my boss, I'm like, "I have to check my email right now." And then I got it, and it was so weird. And they're like, "Okay, well, now you have to go to the doctor. You have to get these 19 vaccinations. You have to go to this place and get this visa to come to Asia.
Right.
You have to go here and buy all these outfits because you have to match the band, and you have to go do a photo shoot." Like, I had to go do a photo shoot solo in front of a white screen so they could insert me into
Right.
the picture.
Gotcha.
It was so nuts. And then they're like, "Oh, and here's 40 songs you have to know by the time you get here."
Wow.
Which was
40.
So this was the end
crazy.
of, this had to be the beginning of September, and I was leaving October 4th.
Jeez.
So I had 1 month.
Wow.
And all the songs you had to like learn them and then record them on YouTube and post them so they could watch you to see if you knew it.
Wow.
So,
that's crazy. Wow.
yeah. So it was hard.
Yeah, sure. Well, and I'm sure that you already kind of dealt with this by going to Florida, but once you were finally on the plane going to Asia, how did that feel?
I still didn't think it was real.
Sure.
I like kept thinking like I'm gonna get there and know he's gonna be there. Like I'm not gonna know. I was going
Gonna
to
get mugged.
Malaysia. Like that's not a real. I was like, is that even a real place? Like,
He's like, that's a
They
disease.
made that up.
yeah.
That's malaria.
So we had to like, my mom and me were like Googling it. My dad, we're like, this isn't real. My parents are like, is that a real plane ticket? I'm like, if it's
looks
not,
like it.
I won't get on the plane.
Yeah.
So they'll be fine.
Yeah.
Sure.
But got on the plane, and then I was heading there, and I was like, I still don't know. You got this from Craigslist? Like,
That's how I'd
Right.
feel as a mom.
Yeah.
If it was Salem, I'd be like, oh.
yeah, it didn't seem real. Nothing of
Gotcha.
it seemed real. But
It's amazing that it was.
it was.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Well, I think this is a perfect little cliffhanger. You stepping off the plane into Malaysia. Let's
is
take a
nice.
little bit of a
Into
break really quick.
Malaysia.
Yeah.
Right. We'll take a little break and then we'll come back and we'll talk about that. Talk about your music, Spring Awakening, We Will Rock You, all that jazz. Not the show. We'll see you.
Like what you're hearing? Please remember to leave us a 5-star review on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, or wherever else you're listening. Also remember to find us on Facebook, Instagram, Patreon, and now on YouTube at MMST Podcast. Thank you so much, guys.
And we are back. We just took a little bit of a break. Had a little bit of drinks, I guess. But yeah, we were just jumping back into, you were just stepping off the plane into Malaysia in your new career.
Yeah.
So can I describe what that was like and like what happened as soon as you got there?
Okay, so I get off the plane. Well, I had to land in, I think I went to Taiwan first.
Okay.
Taipei. Is that Taiwan? I don't know.
I have no
Taipei.
idea.
It was Taipei, but I don't know where that is.
Sure.
Anyway, got off that airplane, then got to Malaysia, get off the plane, and I see a sign that's like, LEO CODY JENSEN. And I'm like, they
Am I
are
famous?
real. They're real.
Right. Sure.
So go get in this car. They drive me to this. I think were we at a Hilton? I think it was a Hilton.
Okay.
In Malaysia.
But you met the band there and everything then?
Well, so I drive there. They drive us there. I have all my bags. I have these huge bags because you're living. So we signed on for a year contract, and they're like,
Wow.
You can. We don't know if you'll go home in that year, but if
Wow.
you did, that's cool. If not,
That's cool.
You're just gone for a year.
Sure.
So I packed 2 huge bags. I'm walking them in the hotel. It's like the fanciest hotel I've ever been in. I'm like, oh. They're like, you're going to live here. And so I walk
Wow.
up to the desk. I'm like, hey, my name's LEO CODY JENSEN. I'm in the band that's going to be staying here. And they're like, oh, I don't know what you're talking about. And I'm like, oh, okay. Just kidding. I'm like, I don't know. And then this
Then you
guy
got
walks up, and I guess he was the old band that we were replacing.
Gotcha. Sure.
He's like, oh, are you in a band? I'm like, yeah, I think.
If it's real.
I'm like,
Maybe determined.
I think we're called Transit. We're with LI Productions. And he's like, yeah, I'm not sure, but he's like, we were the band before, so you probably are. I'm
Right.
like, okay. So I don't know what ended up happening. I ended up getting my room. Went up to my room. It was like the fanciest room I've ever been in. Like there was like a bidet on the toilet, like all these buttons,
Yeah.
play music
That's
on
when you
it, like all these weird things.
Right.
The shower was this glass, beautiful thing. All the doors were like sliding doors that were like see through.
Right.
I was like, this is not real.
Sure. Wow.
Anyway, right after I got in my room, then my band leader contacted me on Facebook because that's all we didn't have. Like I didn't have my phone. I had I got this like international phone to like call my parents.
Right.
But it wasn't like a normal phone. So he's like, hey, come to my room. I think I'm next door to you. So we go in there, and the whole band's in there. And I met them. And they all had been together before, like
Sure.
in Korea.
Okay.
And they came to there. And so they were like, thanks for replacing the old guy. Like, we're going to have to rehearse
sucks,
every
so.
day.
Sucks, though.
Yeah. They were like, we hated him, so hopefully
no,
better.
shoot.
I'm like, oh, okay.
No pressure. So you got there, you just jumped straight into rehearsals. then.
Yeah.
Gotcha. You were telling me on the break, you performed sometimes for like 3 or 4 hours at these shows, right?
Yeah.
So did you have to learn everything up front, or like?
Well, that's why before I went, I had to learn like 40 songs.
Yeah.
Right.
And so it was me in Malaysia. It was me and 2 girls.
Okay.
And so we would and there was we never had a set list. Like we'd get on stage and they'd just be like, start playing a song. It's like,
wow.
If you don't know the first few chords of a song, you don't know if it's
Right.
your song.
Wow.
So many times I'd be like, and like Asian people are not kind. Like they just tell you flat out. So my first few shows, like, because we would play for 45 minutes and then we'd have to go in the crowd, and that's part of our job was like
Interact with people.
Sure. And they would come up and be like, "Oh, you're terrible. That's so great. I love
That's so great.
That's funny
So
that
much
you're
fun
up
to-
there. Like, how'd you get
Oh,
this
no.
job and you're so bad?" And I'm like, "Oh, wow."
Wow.
So it was a wake-up call
I
for
guess.
me, and I hated it.
Wow. So this happened from day one.
Yeah.
People just coming up and telling you whatever.
Yeah.
Wow.
And they'd be like, "Oh, you're not talented. Like, why did they choose you?" And I'm like,
hell.
I don't know, but
I'm here, so.
sorry, we'll be here for 4 months, so hope you enjoy it eventually.
Oh man. So yeah, I mean, it just sounds like it was like a breakneck pace, and then
It was
no forgiveness from the audience either.
And at that time, like, I didn't drink. Like, I hated drinking. I thought drinking was
The
drank
devil.
when I turned 21, and then I hated it, so I stopped. And so when I went there, I was like 25, and I was just like,
I don't know this, Cody.
Right.
I'm like, I don't want to drink. Like, I don't like it.
Are you telling me that the Malaysian people drove you to drink?
Not even.
story.
I still didn't drink because
All right.
then our boss, that's from Vietnam. Well, he's from Canada, but he lives in Vietnam. But he flew in to like watch us one night, and he was like, "Why aren't you taking shots with all the customers?" And I was like, "I don't drink." And he was like, "You have to." And I was like, "Okay." So then I started
Okay.
carrying a beer bottle, and I do shots and spit it in the beer bottle.
Oh,
It was, like,
gotcha.
that was my
Gotcha.
trick.
Sure.
But then, like on New Year's Eve, like a few times I would drink, and the times I drank, I had so much fun. So I'm like, I should have drank the whole time. It would have been
Sure,
way
gotcha.
better.
Like, what was this?
Gotcha. But so you're kind of leading into my next question that I had, because I mean, from what you're saying, it sounds like you had even more like fans and interactions with people than I would have guessed. Did you have any like crazy fan stories or anything like that?
I have the craziest fan.
All right.
It's a long story though. In
Okay.
Malaysia, I ended up with this lady. She was like in her 40s. She had a child. She wanted me to be her baby daddy.
Oh, no.
Like, wanted me to take care of her. Everyone there thinks because you're American that you have all this money.
Sure.
So she started taking me like after the shows, which we ended at 2 a.m. She would like take me out in the city and like
Right.
get food on the street.
And sorry, just before you keep going, were these shows, were they weddings? Were they like special events, or was it just
This
a
was
show?
just literally a club.
Okay.
And we played every night.
Okay,
So
sorry.
they knew we were going to be there. Mm-hmm. And so she would come all the time. And at one point, she even came and was like, "Oh, you've gotten better."
Oh.
And she told me that like the first night we went out on the town. And I was like, "Oh, thanks."
Yeah, gotcha. Okay.
But she started taking me to like cool things like during the day, like on our days off. So backtracking, like my band and I did not really get along.
Okay.
And I never came out to them because they were like, you have to appeal to the ladies. That's why you're the male singer. The
Gotcha.
one male singer has to appeal to the ladies. So like, you have to be straight.
Sure.
So
Gotcha.
never. So I was like that. But then also like, they'd all done it for so long that nobody ever wanted to go like explore
anything.
the place we were at
Gotcha.
because they'd all been doing it for so long. And I'm like, oh, well, I want to go see everything because I'm
Right.
in this foreign country that's so cool.
Sure.
So I would go by myself. But then this lady started taking me, and she like, and I was like, that's cool. Like, we can go do whatever. But then it got a little scary because she would all of a sudden, she somehow would go to the front desk and say,
Oh no.
"Oh, hey, I'm here for Cody Jensen," and they'd be like, "Oh, do you have his birth date?" And she knew my birth date, so
Wow.
they'd give her a key.
Right.
So
Oh,
I would
my
like
goodness.
be out on the town doing whatever, and I'd come back to my room, and one time she was laying on my bed naked.
No, Cody.
I never told my parents this part, but she was on my bed naked.
It's okay.
with
Your mom
all
doesn't know how to
these-
access the podcast. It's good.
She was laying on my bed naked with all these cans of diet soda because it's really hard to find diet soda in Asia. So
She knew how to butter you up, right?
So she had them surrounding her body.
Oh my
And
god.
she'd be like, if only, she'd be like, I have to tell my friends we're having sex because why wouldn't we be? And I'm like,
Oh no.
Because you're 40
what?
with a
And
baby.
I was like, yeah, we just don't. I was like, I love hanging out with you, and it's so fun. Thanks for taking me around. She bought me all these things.
Oh,
She took me
no.
all these. She took me like a theme park. She took me to a water park. She drove me everywhere. But in the end, I was like, her name was Jackie. You'll never hear this.
You'll never hear.
I was like, Jackie, I am gay. I was like, I
Okay.
like boys. I was like, I'm not supposed to tell you that, but I want you to know so you don't feel like I'm just not attracted to you.
Right, sure.
And she was like, she just goes, no, that's so funny. She's like, good try. And I was like, oh, no, it's real. I was like,
Oh no.
I am never going to have sex with you because you have a vagina. And she didn't believe it. So dealt with that.
Dealt with that.
And one time I came back and she was in my shower,
Oh my god.
showering.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Yikes. Well,
that was a crazy fan moment.
sure. But
Do I have any crazy fans?
right. Oh boy, do I. What it looked like online was that you toured around. Did you stay in Malaysia or you did tour? Okay.
Okay, so we started in Malaysia. Then from there, we went to Vietnam. And then from Vietnam, we went to Oman, which is like the Middle East.
Right. Sure.
And then I came home after my year. So you have to give a 7-month notice.
Oh my god.
So
Wow.
So after 4 months, I was
You're
like,
supposed to know whether you want to
I
finish
was like,
out the rest
well,
of the
I
year.
think I hate it. So
Oh no.
I had to Skype my boss that's in Vietnam, and I was already in Oman, and I was like, yeah, I think after this, I'm done. I was like, I don't love it. And he's like, I don't want to lose you. Like, what can we do? And I was like, nothing. He's like, I just want to go home.
Right.
And I want to know when I can go home. Like, I
Right.
feel trapped. So we went to Oman. We were there for so long. And in Oman, there's nothing. Like, we weren't even in the hotel. Like, the hotel was across the street, and we were in these apartments. And my air conditioning went out, and it got to 126 degrees. Wow. And I had no air conditioning. So... And I would like call the maintenance people, and they'd be like, yeah, we'll come, and they would never come. So I was sleeping, like, it was awful.
Sure.
But so after Oman, I went home for a few months, and then I ended up going back to Singapore just for a short contract
With the same band.
with a different. It was a different man,
Same
but
company. Though.
same company.
Gotcha. Okay. So, it sounds like you don't regret it.
I don't.
Okay.
I'm glad I got to see
It was just-
the world.
Sure.
Yeah.
And it was the band wasn't working out and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Sure. So, just to kind of sidetrack, just curiosity for me, what was the coolest place, like what was the coolest attraction you saw or went to or whatever?
My favorite place in the whole world that I would like love to go back to was Vietnam.
Okay.
Saigon. I was there. So we were there January, February, and January is Chinese New Year. So
right.
they decorate all the streets like it's the most beautiful thing you've ever seen. Like
Sure.
flowers, all this stuff. And then on the nights of actual Chinese New Year, they like set off fireworks, and it's like this big celebration. So it was really cool to be there for that. And we were in this like tower hotel, and we were at the very top, so you could see everything. So we like played our show, and then we would like just go to the windows and watch, and it was so cool.
Yeah.
And I got to go see like where the war was, and like where they like hid in tunnels and stuff, and it was so cool.
That would be very cool.
And I would love to go back.
Sure, gotcha. Would you ever go back if they offered you like a year-long contract? Would you ever do that again?
I get offered a lot.
Do you?
He still contacts me.
Wow.
The manager
Oh,
guy.
wow.
But I don't know, like I don't know if it's the company. He's very scary too. Like he's like really aggressive.
Sure.
And like with like I don't know. Like we had Michael Jackson's dad at one of our shows in Vietnam. We had Adam Lambert come to a show in Malaysia.
Okay.
Like we met like a lot of cool
Jeez.
people, and we got to hang out because we were the band. So they'd be like, "Come hang out with us," and it was cool.
Yeah.
And it was such a good experience. But like he scared me so bad, and like it made me not like that culture, which is terrible. I know, but they
get
were
you,
not
though.
nice to me. Like
Yeah.
people would always
Yeah.
be like, "You're not good. Why are
Right.
you doing that?" I'm like, "Oh, it's only my dream, but okay, no big deal."
Gotcha. Well, yeah. And I mean,
Yeah.
sorry. Yeah, I mean, it sounds like it was a time in your life, and
Yeah.
you have that, you can set it aside and everything. So this also kind of leads into the next part that I wanted to talk about. Were you writing material while you were there, or was that after?
It was after.
Okay. Was it right after, or how'd you kind of get into picking up a guitar and writing music for yourself?
That's a good question. I don't. I'm trying to think like the timeline. I came home in 2011. I didn't have a job for like 9 months, but we got paid in cash. They would just hand us wads of money.
Sure.
And I had to wire it to my parents. Like I would which was so scary because you go to like a money, whatever they're called, MoneyGram, and you hand them the money and you write this thing and you're like, please help that.
Please make sure it gets there. Mm-hmm.
Western Union.
So I would do that, and then
But you had all of your expenses paid for, so I'm sure you just had
so
a
we
big
had
old-
nothing. So it was just like I would like keep like a couple $100 to use for whatever.
Right.
But everything else I wired to my mom, and then she would put it in my bank. Mm-hmm. So I got home and I had like a bank full of money, but
Sure.
I had no job, and I was like, I don't really need one, but I do need one eventually. Mm-hmm. So.
Sorry, Ashley's
Cody's like, "That
distracting
means
Cody with
nothing to
with
me.
an app that she's
Sorry.
Cool jackpot.
right.
So I don't know when it happened. I did Lagoon again that year when I came home.
Okay.
And then I think it was that year, like I started, like I picked up the guitar and I was like, I could actually write if I just like plucked. I don't even have to play it well.
Sure. Yeah.
So I just started like plugging strings and writing songs, and that's when I was like, oh, I'd rather write and like perform my own music than just like sing whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And I asked this because you, when we saw you a couple weeks ago, you came to our house with this just big stack of like songs that you've written.
Yes.
Do you remember the first one that you wrote?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's on my EP. That's
Okay.
the very first song I ever wrote, Begin Again.
Okay, I heard that one.
Yeah.
It's-
And
okay.
it sounds nothing like how I wrote it.
Okay.
Like because of the producer, like we changed it a lot.
Right. Gotcha.
But that's the first song I ever wrote.
How did that feel? Getting that song done.
So good, so good. And I think I wrote that one in like one day, and I was like, oh, I wrote a song finally. And then I think I wrote like 10 the next day.
Right. Sure.
So it was like, it just took off. And it was like, I had to do it for my sanity or something. I
Okay.
don't know.
Sure.
I don't know.
When you say that, because I relate to what you're saying right there. But what do you mean? Like, what does writing and putting it down on paper, what does that mean for you? How does it make you work through what?
That is my emotion. Like,
Okay.
I've never been like an emotional person. I found emotions like 3 years ago. I don't know what happened. One day all of a sudden I started
Picked 'em
crying.
up?
And I'm like, oh, I can
That's
cry
what this
now.
is.
Yeah. Don't have to hide
But
it.
before that, like, that was it. Like, I would put it on paper and like, I would play it. I would only play it for my parents. I was living at my parents at the time, so I'd be like, hey, I wrote this. Want to hear this? And my mom's like, that's a really sad song.
Oh no.
I'm
Yeah.
like, I know.
Yeah.
There you go. That's how I feel right now.
Did she ever, like, because I did the same thing, not as much as you probably. I have a hard time showing my songs to people, but when I did, my mom would always be like, what does this lyric mean? What does that thing mean?
She does the same thing.
And I hate that.
I
I
can
hate
see
it
that
so
from your mom,
much.
Michael.
Yeah.
Totally.
I don't like it, but I also
She'd be like, "Are
like
you
it
okay?"
because like I don't want to bring up things I'm dealing with to my parents. I'm always like, they're like, I know you're struggling with something, and I'm like, well, I can't tell you. So then I'll play the song, and then my mom's like, I get it now.
Oh, right. Gotcha.
But so I would do that, and like sometimes I would like write a new one and then play it at a show, and my mom comes to every show, so she would be there, and she'd be like,
She
"What
comes
was
to
that
every
song
show?
about?"
Right.
My mom doesn't miss a solo show ever.
That's awesome.
I need
That's
to
very
meet
cool.
her.
I know.
Because she sounds
The whole moral of this podcast is that
adorable.
we
You'll
need
meet her.
to.
You'll
yeah.
meet her.
Yes, yes.
You'll meet her.
Gotcha. Okay, so I mean, from there, you were writing these songs. Did you ever have plans for them? I mean, it sounds like you would have. Okay.
Not at that time. I didn't. I was just like, I want to write and hopefully like do an album or something, but I didn't know how that worked.
Sure. So how did you work it out? Because you've put out multiple singles, an EP that you're talking about.
Yeah.
How did you find that?
It was through my manager, so it was called 73 Creative, I think.
Okay. This is a different company than the one
The
touring?
band one, yeah.
Okay.
So
this is the one
was-
you're working for now.
Yeah, I'm trying to... No, this isn't. I'm not with them anymore. Either.
Okay.
But I'm trying to think of, like, how I found them. Might have been Craigslist, too. I don't know.
Yes.
But
That is
Shout
where
out to
where
Craigslist.
that's where the gold is,
But
apparently.
this was like I went to this thing, we interviewed, they made me play songs, and then he was like, okay, we'll take you on. But I had to pay them. So it was like I was paying for their services, which you should never do. You should never do.
Right.
Everyone never pay for
PSA,
services.
don't
But,
do it.
But
it helped me so much. Like,
Sure.
it made me grow so much. Like, I would have writing sessions with people. They would bring in people to, like, critique my songs. He would book all my shows. So I was making
Super
money,
nice.
but I was paying them.
Right.
So, yes, do not pay. You don't pay for this service.
do it.
But I did, and I don't regret it. Like, it helped me a lot,
Sure.
and it was awesome.
Okay.
So,
what because I've learned writing just my own material, but what did you learn specifically from these producers about writing music?
it's not specifically about writing. I mostly learned about, like, how to book shows and how to, like, put yourself out there, how to gain a following on Instagram. Like, it was more about, like, promoting yourself.
The business end of it.
Then we would have writing sessions, but it wasn't like they weren't teaching me how to write. It was just like, let's write a song together and see how it goes.
Sure. Okay. Gotcha.
But it helped so much. Like, I would never take that back. And it was $500 a month, and I did it for a year and a half. So it was very expensive.
Sure. Yeah.
Which that guy, I think, is going to jail soon.
Oh.
He's done many
note.
bad things. Side
Many
note.
bad things.
But it didn't. I don't regret it. I don't regret it because he did help me, and he pushed me to, like, he helped me get my EP produced. Like, he produced Taking Over, like, everything.
Yes.
Like, he was
Right.
My favorite
involved
song.
in all of it. He helped me get on freaking Carrie Underwood's when I opened for Carrie Underwood.
Right.
That stupid thing.
That stupid thing. The Stadium of Fire.
Fire.
Yeah, that
He's
stupid
like,
thing.
that's stupid
Okay,
shit.
that part wasn't stupid. The songs we did were
Cody.
stupid.
All right. Well, yeah. So we'll kind of go through. I wrote down what you have on iTunes at least. That's
Okay,
where I
okay.
went. You had
I don't
Taking
even know
Over,
what's on there.
Stalked you
Life
big
of the
time.
Party,
Uh-huh.
Run, 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 which we'll get to in just a second. Yes.
Cody's like,
and
uh-huh.
then Bruised EP, which just came out last year, right?
I think 2 years ago.
Oh, okay. Well,
Close.
whatever.
Oh.
I know. I'm such a shitty podcast host. Why are you listening to this,
So
people?
terrible.
My question is, did you come to your producer with most of your song ideas?
Yes.
Okay. And from what I understand, a producer helps you write, but can also say, I don't want this. I want to change this, blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah.
And I hated that.
Okay, I was going to ask you,
Yeah.
how does that feel? Because I feel like I have such a ownership of the stuff that I write that I
Yeah.
don't want to change it at all.
Well, and he had good ideas. Like, Begin Again, what I said, it's completely different than how I wrote it. Mm-hmm. But he made it so much better. So I appreciated that one.
And that one's on the
That's
Bruised
on the EP.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But Cut Off was... It was a shit show. That's what
It was
put the
completely
EP
cut
off for
up.
so long. Exactly. It was like I played it for him, and then I came back. So what you do, like, I would go in and sit in a session, play the song, and then he would take off. Like, here's my idea, like, what we could do.
Right.
But that one, like, both the others were great. But I came back to that one, and I was like, this is not a he, like, turned it up speed. Like, I was like, no. So I had to show him a song, which is Betty Who, California something. But that's, like, what I based it off of. And I was like, listen to this, and this is how I want it. So then I came back, like, a week later, and he's like, okay, I'll listen to that song. This is what it should be like. And I was like, exactly.
Gotcha.
But it took a long time to get to there. And you have to stand up for yourself,
Yeah, I'm sure.
which I don't, like, most times I'm like, cool. But I'm like, that's my song. Like,
Right.
I'm not
Yeah,
putting
that's like
that
your
song
baby.
out. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was my favorite one on the whole EP. So I'm like, you're not ruining this song.
Sure. Well, good. That's good for you,
So
for sure.
it turned out exactly how I wanted it. But
Good.
it took a while.
Right. Did you ever have any songs that you came to him, he wanted to change, it just came to a point where you just didn't do the song?
Yep.
Yeah.
There were like, because I wasn't even going to do like a 3-song EP. I was going to do like a 6-song EP.
Wow.
And
3
so
of them
there
were that
were-
bad.
I played him like 10, I think. And it
Wow.
was like, no, it was just like I would play him and he'd be like, yeah, I don't feel that one or something. And I like can't say no if he
Right.
doesn't want to do it.
Yeah.
So I have to say
Wow.
okay.
That would frustrate me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, to flip that, what song are you most proud of that you've ever recorded? Does it have to be on any of these things or anything? Just what can you point to and be like, this is my best that I've ever done?
I think it's Bruised.
Bruised.
Which the whole EP is based. That's the title of my EP.
Sure. But the song Bruce is what you're
yeah,
talking about.
it's like that's the one I play. I don't know even what well, I do know what inspired it, but I don't know what like caused it to be good. I don't know. But
Okay.
in my mind, I'm like, that is a good song. Like I
Right.
did well. And when I play it, people are like, oh, that one's great.
Gotcha.
And so
Sure.
I feel good about that one.
Okay, we kind of covered this a little bit, but what does music do for you specifically?
Music is like everything to me. Like I go to a day job every day and bored AF.
Sure.
And so all I look forward to is like when my next show is, or like when I'm going to be home to like write music, or right now, like we're in the show. So it's like,
Right.
I'll get home and go to rehearsal, which
Sure.
I hate rehearsing, but it's still
Necessary
working towards
evil.
a goal.
Right.
But it's everything. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's my whole life, and I don't know why. And I wish it wasn't.
me
I
too,
wish
sometimes.
every day. I'm like, I wish I cared nothing about music. I
Mm-hmm.
wish I just liked to listen to it.
Right.
I wish I didn't sing. I wish I didn't play guitar. It would be so much easier. It would be
Yeah.
such an easier life.
Because I wonder if people think about this. It is a pain in the ass to write music sometimes.
Yeah.
It hurts and you're frustrated and want to like break your guitar sometimes. It just, yeah, I get you.
But
Well-
that's like why. So
That's-
like I did Spring Awakening the first time with you guys
Sure.
forever ago. 2012 was that?
Sounds right. I'm not
I
sure
think-
for sure. I
and
think it
that's
might
like-
have been 2013 actually. But
You're right. Or 2014 even.
something.
It
They all
might have
get
been.
kind of jumbled together
I don't
for me nowadays. But
But like I did it because I've always wanted to do that show. And at that point, that's right when my solo music stuff was taking off. And so it was like, okay, well, let's just add one more thing to be more busy. But
Right.
I was like, I want to do the show so bad, and they're doing it, so I'm going to do it. But then that's why I fell off, because then my solo stuff took off. But solo stuff is the most lonely thing you can ever do.
sure.
It's your passion, and you want to do it so bad, but you're by yourself. You're like I literally sit there and write songs by myself, and then theater's such a community. It's like, oh, you crave that, but then when you do it, you're like so busy you can't write. It's such a like,
Right. But I'm sure that you wouldn't have it any other way.
I wouldn't.
Yeah.
I wouldn't. Like, what else would I do?
Exactly. If I am not in a show and not doing a podcast or not writing music or just keeping myself super busy, I would go crazy. I would legitimately go crazy.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I get that. Well, I mean, that again leads perfectly into my next little part here. Let's jump into your theater career. Does that sound okay?
Yeah.
All right, perfect. So you're doing your solo stuff. It's kind of taken off, taking over Ashley. She's in the other room right now, but yeah. Why would you take a break and go into Spring Awakening at Midvale, which was your first show with us?
Because of exactly what I said. Like,
The show itself.
I needed, the show itself, I wanted to do so bad, but also I was missing the community of theater. Like,
Okay.
having friends, having people support you, like,
all kind of working
it's
toward
so
the same
different.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I had been doing, up to that point, the first Spring Awakening was like the beginning of my solo career too. So it was like, both things were happening at the same time. But I hadn't been doing, I mean, I'd come back from Asia, did Lagoon, did all that. So it was like I needed something different than Lagoon, which is like musical review.
Right.
And I was ready for my solo stuff to take off, but it hasn't happened yet. It was the exact same moment.
Gotcha.
So I was doing it because I love the show, and it was fun to get back to theater.
Sure.
And it's not even the show, like, after the whole situation, like, it's the friends you made, and it's who you got to know, and, like, how you affected people around you, not even the crowd. Like, I didn't care, whatever.
Sure. Well, yeah, let's talk about that for sure. Just to kind of jump back, though, was it hard preparing for a musical theater audition? That might be a stupid question.
No, completely.
Okay.
I still, like, there's shows I've seen at, like, Hale or, like, Pioneer that I'm like, that'd be a fun show to do. But then they're like, oh, must have your book with you with 32 bars. And I'm like, I don't know what that is. Like, I don't know how to do that.
Yeah.
So I won't audition because I don't want to take the time to figure that out.
Gotcha. So, I mean, you read the audition notice, and you were like, hey, I could, get a minus track. I could come audition. Okay, cool. We've talked about, did you know anybody from Brighton auditioning for it or anything? Was that part of it at all?
No, I think the only reason I heard about it was because of Aaron Ford.
Okay.
Because he'd done like, Next to Normal. And
he was the choreographer for Spring Awakening.
Yeah.
Yeah, gotcha. Okay. So, do you remember anything about that callback or anything at all?
I remember, so I auditioned and literally walked out the door, got in the car with my boyfriend at the time, and we drove to Idaho to visit his family.
Okay.
And that night we got the thing that was like, hey, you got to call back. Here's the songs to learn. So that whole trip, all I remember was listening to those songs and being like, okay, I have to know these.
Yeah, shoot.
Because I thought I knew the music, but you never do. Like, when you have to know the songs, you're like, no, I didn't know those songs.
I mean, just to kind of jump forward a little bit, when we did We Will Rock You, they gave us the callbacks, and I knew the songs, but like actually trying to sing those songs is totally different.
Yeah.
Totally different.
Because you like, when you're in your car, you're just like, whatever. But you're not singing it real.
No.
Yeah.
Gotcha, sure. So were you going, I'm assuming you were going for Melchior.
Yeah.
That was,
that was it.
Sure. Any particular reason?
Actually, I put Melchior or Moritz.
Okay.
I wanted to be either one.
Sure. Is it just that, is the show, like, you were aware of the show beforehand?
Yeah, like I knew the storyline. I didn't know all the songs, but I knew I liked the music, the basic of it.
Right.
But that's it. So, like, when she sent us the two songs, she sent me one for Moritz and one for Melchior, and I was like, I don't know either of these songs. I'm like, oh.
So a little bit of nerves, I'm sure, kind of happened there. Gotcha, sure. So, I mean, we did the audition and did the callback, and I don't really remember much about that callback.
Me neither.
Yeah. I wonder if it's just time, but do you remember how it felt getting that part?
Like, amazing. Like, and I was like, oh, I can actually still do theater. Like,
right.
Because I hadn't done a show since high school.
Welcome back, Ashley.
But I remember that callback very well.
You do?
I remember, like, literally what I was wearing for that callback because... No, I just have to say, like, I know that this...
Well, you were up for Venla, weren't you?
I mean, I wanted to be, yeah.
Oh.
But I... That was probably the callback that I had prepared for, like, more than any other callback. And I think that was... You know how sometimes you just want something too much? And I think that was what happened to me there.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of times I've gone into like auditions for a show and callbacks and not known the show like crazy well, and it's worked out in my favor or not, and it's been okay because I wasn't attached.
Care that much,
And this one, like, we kind of did our research before, and like I knew a lot of the songs, and we'd watched the show multiple times, and like I was even practicing the lines, like I'd looked up like the script.
Yeah.
So that maybe got me there, but yeah, I remember it for sure.
Yeah, I don't remember, and I didn't know any of you. Like, I didn't know any person in that theater. Like, I'd known Aaron that had done shows there,
Right,
and that's it. So
because like, you graduated a couple years before I started Brighton, so
way many years.
Yeah.
Way many.
Yeah, I didn't even know. I don't think I knew that you went to Brighton until like after the show opened.
I don't think I did
something
either.
Like that. Yeah,
we like made
just
that
crazy.
realization
But
later.
anyway, again, you just lead me perfectly into these things. What was your impression of Midvale once you got cast and once we started rehearsing and everything?
That show was amazing.
It was so much fun.
Amazing.
I think everything was
amazing.
organized. Everything went great. And at that point, I'm like, oh, I can memorize lines so easy. It's so easy. I don't know why. Maybe it's because I wanted to prove myself again to the theater community or something. But I don't know. It just went great.
Ashley, did you ever feel that? Because I get what he's talking about. Like, getting cast in a community theater part, I, like, put my soul into it just to prove that I was supposed to be there.
Do you know what's funny? The time that I feel like I did that the most, which is so crazy because I've had parts that, like, I feel that ultimately are more dear to my heart. This is one that is very close, but the one that I did that with the most was Janet, because I think I was terrified of that part.
Gotcha.
So I was really ahead of the game with everything, and I normally
Half-ass it? Is that what you're saying?
exactly. So please cast me.
So come
Right.
see We Will
I
Rock
always
You
half-ass.
Midvale Main Street Theater.
So
We'll
make
do
sure to
really
cast
well.
me in all of your upcoming shows.
No, I get that, but that's definitely common. I think people like you have to prove that you're supposed to be there. Like I said,
But it's so. This is the thing I have like the hardest time with is like our show right now. I will do my best and I'll sing those songs, but at the same time, I think I'm looked down upon by some people because it's like that's not what I do. It's like, oh, well, my
I was
forte-
nodding, but I don't agree. I've never no.
You don't have to agree. I'm just saying this.
No,
I feel.
I don't want you to think that I've heard that or anything. No, I just
He's
wanted
totally
to be
right.
supportive.
Everyone says
no.
that now.
No, I've never
No,
heard
because
that.
you have this. I have this whole other life of like singing my own stuff or like singing covers, and the way I sing is definitely not Queen.
I don't know about that, but
it's also been my dream since I saw the show when I was 18 in London. Like I've wanted to do the show.
Right.
But now that I'm in it, I'm stressed AF. Like,
Sure.
Wow.
Yeah. Well,
As are we all.
right. But let's just
I get it for
put a
you.
tiny bit of a pin in that. We'll jump right back into We Will Rock You in a second. But,
Yes. We jumped ahead. Sorry.
No, you're fine. I just want to ask a couple more questions about Spring Awakening, and we'll get there for
Yes.
sure. But
We're not over Spring Awakening yet.
I'm never over Spring Awakening.
just to jump back in, what did you learn about yourself while rehearsing Spring Awakening the first time?
That's literally when I found emotion.
Okay. All right.
That show is such
It's
a heart
true.
wrencher that there's no
It
way that you
is.
wouldn't find a piece of your heart in that show.
Yeah.
Like
Holy.
my parents all growing up would always be like, you never express emotion. We don't know what you're feeling. Yeah. Me and Salem
As Salem
are one and
screams,
the same.
because Salem, that is literally
That's his
my
only
child.
emotion.
27-ish, you'll find emotion.
You're going to want to do Spring
Wait,
Awakening.
How old are you?
32.
Wow, I would never have
Yeah,
guessed that.
I'm old
Michael's a
AF.
baby.
I know. That's
I
what
mean,
my
I'm super,
27.
I'm super
Brighton,
close to that with you,
way
Cody.
after.
This guy, baby status.
Anyway. Okay, so you found emotion. Was that
Yeah.
because of the material then?
I think it was.
Yeah.
It was a big part of it. And because I was writing so much at that time, that's when I found it. And it was like, I would cry all the time. And my mom got so worried. She's like,
She's like, are you pregnant, Cody?
yeah, what's wrong with you? Why are you
Yeah.
crying? I'm like, I don't know, Mom. I don't know.
Gotcha.
I'm
A
still
lot
the
of
same.
feelings.
And the second somebody's like, why are you crying? I can shut it off. I'm like, I'm not.
I'm not.
Fine.
You're crying. I
Gotcha.
know.
Gotcha.
But I hadn't cried since I was 10 years old until then. I never cried.
Gotcha.
I don't know why.
Nothing
I was
to
just,
cry about.
A pretty easy going, whatever, you know?
Yeah. Well, I've felt that too. I feel like there are some shows, like Ashley was saying, that kind of just stick with you, and that they do change you. So I
Yeah.
get that for sure. I get
We
that.
feel that about Spring Awakening, and those weren't. I mean, Michael and I, that was one that was really hard for us. That was one of the biggest blow shows for us. Is that we had
Yeah.
parts we really wanted, and we definitely did not get those parts. We
Sure.
were happy to be included in the cast, but we were ensemble, and but just the message of the show is so strong, and just even being a part of that show in any way will have that effect on you. I feel like
Yeah.
it's just one of those shows.
That combined with the cast, we've talked about it.
That's true.
Yeah.
Before, but this
we
cast
hit
was
the jackpot
great.
with that
It
whole
was the
experience
cast,
because the
and-
cast was so close and just no drama and just the perfect group of people. I feel
Sure,
like.
definitely. just to jump back into the material of the show, was any of it awkward at all to do for you? Because you were in some
He's
different
like,
difficult
no, I do
positions.
that all the time, like every weekend.
With a girl.
Yeah.
I mean,
normal.
but the way we did it the first time with a closed rehearsal and it was just me and Erica,
Yeah.
like it was fine and we got through it and it was great.
Mm-hmm.
And it didn't feel awkward.
Okay, good.
Your face.
That's all.
That's it.
That's it. Cut.
Yeah, it didn't feel awkward then, and like having to have my ass out on stage.
Yeah.
I thought it was gonna be super weird. I told my mom, I was like, "Hey, Mom, Dad, I have to have sex on stage with a girl. Thanks, Dad. You'll be very proud."
You hear your daddy's like, whoop, like in the audience.
Finally, my son. But I was like, "This is what's happening." I was like, "You don't have to bring anyone." I was like, "You guys can come see it." My mom brought everyone. Like, the whole family.
She's like, "Okay, got it."
And she's like, "Well, we saw. We couldn't like really see it. It's fine."
Well, you were up on the balcony too.
Yeah,
It
you
is
know?
true that you couldn't see
Yeah.
much
Yeah.
besides, yeah.
Just is very
Just
white.
kind of like
and
a
reflective
white-
light.
You
a
think
white
it's blinding?
little.
No, I'm just kidding. Mine
It's like
would have
a
been.
The
white
North
hill in the
Star.
distance, kind of thing. Yeah.
But yeah, that was the one part that I was most stressed about. But the first time we did it was not awkward.
Okay.
I was scared about it. It wasn't.
Gotcha.
Wasn't
First time?
Perfect.
First time.
Yeah.
So yeah, jumping into, you kind of took a little bit of a break there, focused on your music, I'm sure. What brought you back into the revival of Spring Awakening?
It was the craving of people
Okay.
and thinking that everyone that did it the first time was gonna be back. Like
Yeah.
literally you too. Like I was like,
We betrayed
"Can't
you is what you're
wait
saying?"
to hang out.
Wait.
hang out with you guys again.
Yeah.
And like we did have a lot of
We wanted
original
to do it
people,
so bad.
Yeah.
We would have been there if we could have been.
but
Yeah.
yeah, that doesn't
Someone
happen.
got knocked up. So.
Somebody had a baby.
No, we were in Charlie Brown.
Oh, you
That's
were
what
in Charlie
happened.
Brown.
I
okay.
cried about it. Like I literally sobbed when I found out that that's what they were doing. Ask
right.
Michael.
I
I was
remember
a wreck when I found
Yeah.
out that's what they were
We
bringing up
definitely
next.
wanted to come back for sure. But
Well, I'm glad you wanted to.
I really did. I was like, how can I work
literally,
this out?
I'm like thinking of like all the people I wish would have come back, and like you two were the top two, and I'm like, and then I get there and I'm like,
gonna be so fun.
it's gonna be so fun without the two people that I wanted to be there.
oh,
We're gonna go to jam, hang out on the weekends,
Right.
Kamchata.
Kamchata all day.
Do you want to tell the story of Kamchata really quick?
I can tell the Kamchata
Do it, do it.
Actually, I don't know how it
What's it
originated.
called? What
is
It's
it
called Kamchatka.
Okay.
Right, but you would
Kamchatka.
mix it with like a vanilla liqueur, right?
No, that's the
Oh,
flavor.
that's how-
He's
okay.
like, no, Michael,
Vanilla
you leave
liqueur
it in
and
your.
vodka
He's
Okay.
like, no, Michael, you leave it in your car till it
leave it
is
in your
at
car
a
until it
boiling temp.
molts
Right,
into vanilla.
Molts.
The bottle actually gives it flavor.
right.
It's melted
plastic.
so far.
But yeah, that was our drink of
That
choice
was our drink of
during
choice.
Spring
I
Awakening.
just remember,
Had to be at a nice 82 degrees
yeah,
or more.
had to be warm, and we would just drink it backstage.
Right. Anyway, so you come into
Kamchatka.
Spring Awakening the second time. What did you do anything different? Like, what was the process there?
It was actually
always-
very hard because everyone had known that I was Melchior the first time.
Yeah.
I don't think they knew at the beginning
and you were the only person that came back from the original
for Leeds.
For Leeds, yeah.
I think
Garrett,
Garrett
was,
was there.
back. Tommy
came back. Yeah,
came
Oh,
back.
okay.
yeah,
Okay, but
but
not everybody, obviously.
yeah, but even in rehearsals, like, okay, that was 4 years
I
ago.
don't think any of the girls were
And
back.
I kept like forgetting things, and people would be like, the second I forget something, they're like,
You already did
I've
that.
done this show. I'm
Oh,
like,
no.
okay, well, I've done 1,000 things between 4
Yeah.
years. So sorry, I don't remember.
All
I'll remember
million
by
minds.
opening night. Okay,
Yeah.
Gotcha.
so that bugged me. It was just hard. It was hard because I feel like everyone was looking at me to be like, lead the show because you've done it.
Right.
But
Gotcha.
as soon as, in my mind, as soon as I'm done with the show, it's gone. Like,
I'm not
I
one of those people
forget
that
it
remembers
because
all
I
of that
cannot-
either.
Yeah, and I have other things I have to do, so I cannot remember every line and every song.
Yeah,
Right.
I forget
I'm done with
stuff
it.
right after, honestly.
Right. So just to kind of piggyback off that, because you have only played leads at Midvale, do you ever feel that responsibility to quote unquote lead a show at all?
Yeah, always.
Okay.
And I don't feel like that when I'm auditioning, and that's the part I want. I'm like, I want the lead. but I don't think about that responsibility at the time.
Sure.
But like right now, in We Will Rock You, I feel that, and I feel like I'm letting you down.
Well, no,
Not at
let's. You're not number one, but define what that means. Like, what do you mean by lead a show then?
Like, be the one that is like the most prepared. Like,
Okay.
know your lines, know your songs.
See,
I can see that with you because when we came to that, you were the first person to go up on stage without a script. And
For 5 seconds.
but still, like,
Still,
so I can
yeah.
see that like was your way of thinking that you're like, I need to be off of this, even though you've got the most lines.
right. I was going to say, let me jump in
More
and just
lines than
say
anyone else.
that I think, because Ashley and I have, what,
We've
20
got
minutes of a
we've got
show?
a decent amount of
Sure.
lines, but it's nothing like what.
So we would never blame you for not being off.
But
book,
I can see
But it's-
how you'd feel that way.
That's how
Absolutely.
I feel. And
Yeah,
like,
sure.
if you're a lead and you're not memorized and you're not like
You
knowing
feel
your
like
things,
you're-
then why would anyone else? Like,
Is it kind of going back to like proving that you're supposed to be in that part? Like
Yeah.
leading? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I have to
All right.
ask you, Michael. Like, it makes me think about you with Rent. I feel like not only like did you feel the need to do that with like your lines and stuff, I felt like you felt the need to like organize things within the cast too. Like there was a lot of that from you, like more than I've ever seen.
I guess.
When he played Mark in Rent, he would just like organize like cast get-togethers and stuff. Even
we need
because
to
I
do
think
that.
we should.
Cody's
we
like,
should
I'm
for
going to
the
do
show.
that now.
No.
but I get that.
I won't.
Yeah.
but-
I guess. Yeah. I guess that makes sense. I think part of that though was just it was my first community theater show, my dream role, my dream cast.
Right, but you
really,
didn't know
everything.
anybody, and you
Right.
definitely like took the reins and were like, "We're gonna watch this showing of Rent and all
Which
get
is funny
together,
because
and we're
I
gonna."
think nowadays people think that I am a bitch because I'm so standoffish with people. So I don't know what changed, but
You're standoffish with who?
Nothing changed. I just think that it got really quiet.
no,
Like, what do you mean? Who thinks you're standoffish?
I've heard from a couple people that I have resting
Michael-
bitch face.
Well, so
and
do I, big time. But
I'm just not. I'm not an extrovert. I won't go up to people and talk to somebody.
yeah, because
you know?
that's not
I
your
don't-
personality.
Right.
I
You
don't
don't
find
have
that
to
a lot
be.
of people misunderstand you, though. I really don't think that that's the case. I think a lot
Let's
of
hope
people
so.
know that you are like approachable if they're going to come talk to you, but you're also not like the most extroverted person that feels the need to like come up and spark conversation with you just for the hell of it.
Right.
I've never like, and maybe that's because I'm your wife and I probably wouldn't get that vibe,
Let's hope not.
but
Hopefully
I know
not.
people are like, fuck Michael. Like, why
Right.
did you ever?
His wife hates him too.
Yeah.
They're like, you know what I'm saying, right? Like, he's the worst.
No, honestly, when I saw Rent, which was ages ago, like I
So long
I didn't know you
say
guys
that.
at all.
Don't say that because we want Tammy to bring it back, and we're not that old, Cody.
I have
He leans
multiple
forward.
bald
He's like,
spots. I
I'm
think
being
I've done,
Roger next time.
Right?
Okay. No, but really, I had no idea who you were. I didn't know you
Yeah.
guys. But watching that show, I was like, wow, like she cast so well, and I was like in that upper,
The
VIP.
Right.
yeah. But it was so good. Most parts.
We're gonna leave it right there as far as that goes.
But no, literally, and I didn't know you guys. But I think I swear I talked to you both after. I wouldn't remember.
I wouldn't
But
either.
I think
honestly,
I
but-
did. Because I think I went to talk to everyone. But,
Sure.
I can see that
That's
for
cool,
sure.
For sure.
But no, but it was so good. I wouldn't think you guys were standoffish or like anything. It was just like
That was like my big first part
amazing
that like
show.
anyone who would have talked to me, I would have been like, that.
I don't know. I don't know what I'm.
But that's
saying,
weird. That
but-
I don't understand why people would think that about you or you. Like,
Maybe I'm projecting.
I'm
the
pretty,
nicest
I'm pretty
people
different
on
than
the
Michael.
planet.
Like I will just,
Ashley's definitely way more of an extrovert than I am. But
like I kind of don't give a shit who you are. I'll come up and talk to you.
and I
But
envy
yeah,
you. I
me
envy
too.
you for
I do
that. That's
too,
hard.
and it's fine. That's just, but that's different personalities. It doesn't make you a douche.
I just don't think that you give off a vibe that's like, I don't want to talk to you. Please don't come talk to me. There's a difference between that and like, I'm going to talk to you if you have something you want to talk to me about, I'm open to talk to you. There's a difference between that and being like, please don't talk to me. And I won't name names, but like we've had this in shows and like we even have some in this show that I just feel are more comfortable alone and they want to be alone and they're okay if you don't come and approach them and they're kind of like, don't
That's the
talk
thing
to
with
me.
the big cast. I'm like, I'm not connecting with so many of these people and I feel like I need to.
There are like a couple people.
Your leader.
Yes, there are a couple people that
Right.
I will like try and get them to make eye contact with me because I'm that person that I'm like, if you do, I'm going to talk to you. And I think they
Right.
know that.
And they don't want to.
Yeah.
They
so
don't
they're
want
like,
to.
They're more comfortable to not. And that's okay. And I should probably respect that. But I'm more that
Yeah,
way.
same. I'm like, I want everyone to
But-
be
I'm
my
like,
best
hello?
friend.
Hello?
If you hate me, I want to know why you hate me.
Yeah.
Right.
Why though?
But I have felt lately, and again, this just might be circumstantial, but I feel like leads don't really connect with ensembles until full runs
Till it
/ the
goes.
show opens. Exactly.
Yeah,
and
I feel
that
the same.
sucks.
I have totally felt
and I
that
think
disconnect
that you
for sure.
specifically, Ashley, are a little conscious of that because you'll still make the effort to go
you
talk
try.
to everybody.
And I don't mostly in rehearsals because I'm like so annoyed at rehearsal. I hate rehearsing. I hate rehearsing for anything.
Why do you hate rehearsing?
Period.
Just
It just feels
the
like
minutia of it. Not the minutia.
like
what is the word? I don't know.
the
Repetition
show
and like
we need it,
Mm-hmm.
but like the things we're rehearsing, we've been rehearsing is like,
I
oh,
get
I
it.
could do that by myself.
that's not
So
the
don't.
process
So
that
stop.
I look the most forward to. I definitely look
Yeah.
forward to once it comes together.
Running and like we're going.
Right. Gotcha.
We're going. We're
And
vibing
those
as a
rehearsals
cast.
are fine.
Yes.
And that's when we'll bond. And I'll bond with you. But in music rehearsals or dance rehearsals, I'm
Well,
like, please don't.
Music
talk to
rehearsal
me.
is
I don't-
objectively the worst part of
I get
any
that.
rehearsal process.
I
hate music rehearsals
absolutely.
so much.
For sure.
Yeah,
But yeah,
absolutely.
do you guys hate rehearsing like the same? I hate it.
I feel like once
more
I-
than anything, I would rather do anything
Once I
than
leave
rehearse.
rehearsal, I've had a good night, but I will say that I'm never, not
Want to
never,
go to
not
it.
never, but I'm usually not like pumped to go. Like, and I think for me that is much more like an internal thing that I never feel prepared to go. And I have to say though, it's kind of a double-edged thing because there have been sometimes that I have felt a little too prepared. This sounds really stupid, but it's usually with dance.
Mm-hmm.
It's usually like if I feel that I've reviewed everything and I know that we're going to go over it and I'm going to be bored. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no,
There have been
totally.
times where I'm like, I know that I remember this shit and we're going to have to go over it. And that's nothing to do with the choreographer. You've got to do it. Has to happen.
Right.
For people that weren't there, for people that don't have it yet, and you're a little bit bored. So
Yeah, I
I
totally
can see
get that.
both.
Yeah.
Unprepared,
Sure.
too prepared.
See, for me, I think it's again what we were talking about way back toward the beginning of this episode. The process for me is what I'm there for. The product, like getting the claps at the end, is not necessarily why I do this. You know,
I love it.
you like gaining like the character and like being
it's
somebody
fun
else.
for me to play the character rather than getting the claps at the end. And I'm not saying that you guys are just doing it for that, because obviously there's much easier
I
ways
am.
to get applause. there's easier ways to do
I
that.
want
though.
that.
That thrill is like a big part for me.
It's a big-
and
huge part.
people that I know coming and seeing that, and
See, honestly, when I do a curtain call, I kind of feel a little silly. You know, I
I
don't
get
like
that
it.
for you because you don't like to go out and like talk to people
Which
after.
is so. You're the person that like
We
will
should all
make
be.
it. Yeah, that's the person that like because that's your passion.
Mm.
It comes from inside rather than like
It does make
outward,
sense, Michael,
getting
because
it
you're not
back.
like a big social
You don't care.
person, and you're like
and you just love it.
much more about the. Michael's
Yeah.
like doesn't know where to
Just
look. He's like very overwhelmed.
fine.
So that's the thing. This is
Michael's
the thing I
a
believe.
I don't
about.
very
think-
different person than I am, and I feel that we both
That's why you mesh.
we are very
Sure.
similar in like that. This is a passion of ours, but we're very different in like what we're trying
Yeah.
to get out of it.
Right.
Totally.
But I don't think that one is better than the other at all.
It's just different.
I
It's
do.
just different. Okay.
Okay. No.
Like me and Ashley suck,
But here's the
and
thing.
Michael's
No,
in
I
it for the.
Cody says, "Oh, I do," but he
Okay.
gets the leads every time.
Okay,
so.
but I believe the one that's like the person that's like outstanding and wants the applause will be the one that's like the most torn down later. But you don't care about that, so you're like you just love it. You love every ounce of it, and then if you get the applause, you're like, "Oh, that's cool. Sure, I got that."
Added
and then
bonus.
that's it. But you'll be that person like that auditions for American Idol the first time, and they're like, "Oh, I made it," because
He literally would be that person.
Music.
I'm sorry, this is going in a very
This is a
dark
very-
place
very
because
tangential
now I'm
way.
hating you.
We'll
Not me
delete
and
it. We'll delete
no,
it.
keep it.
this is
Keep it.
fantastic. This
No.
is fantastic. This is what we're here for. But
All I'm saying though is that me
totally-
and Cody are going to hate on you now. So.
Yeah,
okay.
we hate you now.
no, what it
because-
is that you're going to be like why the fuck are you still doing shows at 95, Michael? You need to stop doing this.
And that's the thing too.
I'll still be doing them then too because I still need people to love me when I'm 95.
Me too. I'm like,
Me and you will be like, who's coming to my show tonight? And Michael will be like, doing a show. Love theater, so passionate. This is amazing. And we'll be like, who's coming? Who's gonna be there?
I'll be on the old Kilby Court stage, and I'll be
yes,
87 years old,
and I'll be there to support you,
and
and
I like
you'll
this
be there to
guitar
support
that
me.
you're pantomiming. It's like a
hard. I'm so old, my
In a
fingers
wheelchair.
can't strum the guitar.
okay. We're all saying that we're still going to be doing this when we're
forever.
Exactly. So
'Cause
that's why I
what
say
else do we
it's
care
not.
about?
But that's why I say it's not. What's better? What's worse? It's just different.
Guys, now that I'm
You know?
getting to be 30, I seriously wonder if my parents wonder when the hell I'm going to stop doing this.
I've felt that.
I literally
too.
feel like my parents are like, when
Now
do
that
I
we
have
have
to,
a kid,
my
too.
parents are like, when do I have to stop coming to see her and shit? Like, it's her time to go watch her kid do things. Like, I'm done with this phase of my life. I
Yeah.
think my parents are like, I don't need to do this anymore.
That is my dad.
Yeah.
My dad always supports. My dad comes to all the shows my mom comes to,
You love that.
but he doesn't care about it, and he's like, "Why are you doing this?"
My dad has not
Why?
cared from day one, just for the record. But
Well,
go
They're
ahead.
very different
But
people,
I'm
but
just
yes.
like, okay, well, I'm gonna do this forever, especially with my band. Like,
Yeah.
I'm being paid to go travel and sing these songs, and
Like,
I
who
think-
wouldn't do that?
But I'm
Right.
thinking like my mom's gonna be like, one day I hope you just settle and like do something real. But I don't have to. I have a
don't.
real job. That's why I have a real job.
Yes.
I'm responsible.
So
And
that
then
you
I have
can
a
do
fun
this.
job to go do that.
Yeah.
I mean, I wonder if that's a generational thing or what it is.
I'm
because
sorry. I feel like theater is but I feel like theater is what is real to us, and then like our day job is just kind of what's not.
What we have
It's
to
I am
backwards
not-
to
to do
us.
it.
I am not in the self-storage business because I love it.
Exactly.
You don't.
This is something
I'm
that we-
not in fucking pipe and valve company,
Right.
Because I love it,
Storage, etc.
Right.
How do you say that word? Say it, Cody.
etc.
Etc. He taught me last
What's
time.
the real word?
It just
that how you say
it's
it?
just ETC, so it's
Ex-
abbreviated,
some
and
people say
I hate it.
etc..
I know. I'm like
yeah.
storage period.
Yeah, but I mean, ultimately, that's what we're doing it for. Is the passion of it. Like, we can have whatever day job, whatever else, but we're not going to stop doing this. Like, Salem's getting to a point where we probably should be at home.
I was
going to
say, I feel like if we were going to, Michael, you and I literally feel like such a big foundation of our marriage is our shared passion for this. Like we get along, like our personalities get along super well.
Well,
But
Well,
like as people, we mesh like very well together, but this is like a huge part of who we are together.
Together.
I feel like.
Yeah.
And I think that if we were going to stop doing that because we felt we needed to
you
grow
might
up,
not know what to do.
I feel that it would have. We don't, because after 2 weeks of closing a show, you know how you want to close a show so bad,
And then it
and then you
closes,
do, and we're good for like.
Right.
I'm a homebody. We both can definitely be homebodies, and like we'll be at home and we'll be loving it for like a solid maybe 10 days, and then
That's
after
it.
that we're like,
Exactly.
This
then
sucks.
we get so stir
This
crazy.
sucks.
That's
Like-
part of why I started this podcast, because I need something else to
Something to
do.
do.
You know, yeah. I don't know. Ultimately, the whole point of this is that. What is the whole point of this?
The whole point of this, there is no point of this.
No, the point-
the end.
Everyone has a passion. Everyone has their own passion.
Right.
It doesn't matter if it's theater,
Right.
accounting, math, science, whatever. You have to have a passion in life.
Right.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter if that's
And-
your actual job.
Right.
You have to do your
But a lot of us
passion.
have day
Exactly.
jobs to be able to
be able to
make
do
our
your
dream
passion.
happen. Yep.
Right. And that's not going to go away for
Not-
any of us.
I wish it would. Like
I kind of do
literally
too.
Wish it.
I
every
wish
day.
I wish I was content sitting home.
Yeah.
Really, it would be a lot
Doing nothing.
less expensive. It like you said, it kind of it feels a little silly with how old I am and how long we've been doing
it
this.
only feels silly to me as far as
What roles
my
I'm playing.
no.
Right,
it feels
that's
silly
what I
to
mean.
me, like as far as just how my parents must look at it, because I feel like parents must look at things and be like, okay, this is where this should end for me.
Right.
You know what I mean?
That
Like
was
I've
high school.
supported
That was
and
high
this
school.
is done.
It was
Yes.
super cute when you guys did that.
I
Joseph
literally,
show.
I'm getting sad because I'm getting older, but I have to say, like, no part of me wishes that I didn't have. I get what you're saying, but I don't wish that I didn't have this passion, because I literally so often feel so, and I know we all feel this way, but I feel crazy lucky even just to do community theater. And I'm trying so hard to like hold on to, what's that saying where they say, I wish there was, I think it's in The Office, I wish there was a way to know that you're in the good days when you're in them. Like the good old days.
I do.
And that's how
love
I
that.
feel. I kind of hope that Tammy hears this, because I just have to say, like, I've had this conversation, usually pretty intoxicated, with Tammy several times where I've just like looked at her and I've been like, we're so lucky. Like, I just feel so lucky, and a big part of it is the people.
And all
but I
the
feel
things
lucky
that
all
are
the
going
time.
on in your life, it doesn't matter. Like, we are in the good days. We're doing
We're
shit we
in the
love.
good days.
Absolutely.
We're
It's
in
great.
the peak of our, like, this is like the height of our lives.
And also,
Rehearsals suck,
go back
but
a
the end
little-
product is great.
it doesn't matter how old we get, because I think theater keeps us young, like for real.
Sure.
Like all of us.
Of course
we
it
don't
does.
Look our
Well, but also
you're only 27.
look at some of the people that we're like interacting with, and that we've just talked about this. There are
We're
younger
like-
people, and they might annoy the shit out of you, but at the same time, like, they make you feel more youthful because they give a shit about talking to you. You're like, oh, maybe I'm not like as old as I feel. I feel that.
and we feel old, but we don't look old, and we
Yes.
don't have to, because
younger people come up to us and they're like, you're the same age as me, and it makes you
I
feel.
am. Hey, 19. Can't see
Yep.
you later.
Sure.
See you later.
I am my own grandpa.
The fact that someone would come up to me and be like, guys, this is what's going on in my dating life, and I might think it's stupid in the moment, but later on I'm like, the fact that someone would think that I could relate and
care-
would want to talk to
care
me
about
about
it.
that
Yeah.
is huge.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I tell people that I'm 30 and they're like, what the? And that makes me feel great. And that's why I'm in theater.
Sure.
Yep.
But even
Theater.
beyond the looks of it, just having, like, what I kind of equate this to is me going in my backyard and playing like swords or like knights or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, when I was young, and that's what it feels like to me when I'm on stage. And so I think that that's what's so cool about
Salem
it.
gets
Salem,
it.
gonna talk right over you. But no, that's what's so cool about this is like you get to keep that youthful passion. It's kind of what fuels you, you know. But I don't know how much that's
and
getting
that's
picked up,
so
but-
that's so different for me though. Like, I don't feel like I'm playing swords in my backyard. I feel like I'm on the biggest stage in the world, no matter what show
It's-
I'm doing.
I feel
But
that way
that's still
too.
youthful energy.
It is.
right?
It is.
I
Yeah.
feel that way too.
And it's like, why do we have to care so much at Midvale Main Street? And we love
we
it.
do. But we do.
We care so much.
Right.
Yeah. Sometimes
Yeah.
I will say that sometimes I wish I wasn't as content to do that. Like, sometimes I wish that
Same.
because I put so much of my time into it, that I would aspire. Because I literally don't think it's that I can't go elsewhere. I just don't aspire to, because I love the environment so much.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to walk away
and,
from.
Yeah, and not in doing the shows that we like.
It was the same for me when I did like that shitty encore group. Honestly, my parents tried to get me into like something that would benefit my future more, like competition, like let's work on your technique, make you a better dancer. I could be a much better dancer than I am today if I'd have done that,
But
but
you
I
did it
couldn't
'cause it
get
was
over.
fun. You
I
loved
did it
it.
because I loved the people. I'd grown up with them, like, and you
totally get
can't,
it.
like, yeah, that's just something that's super special, and
Right.
I've always held on to that.
Yeah. Well, on that note, why don't we just wrap it up really quick? We're all in We Will Rock You right now.
Yes.
Yes. I guess just to kind of cut this as short as we can. Here we go. There we go. Don't speed it up, guys.
We probably will.
We will, for sure.
Both of you, I guess, talk to our audience about why they should come and see us in this show, because we're getting close to opening, believe it or not.
I just want to say, first of all,
You go.
not for the script. Continue.
Yes.
Please don't put the script.
Don't expect
Don't think that the
Shakespeare.
script's going to be good. Yep.
The music is amazing.
Of course.
Yes.
This is the scariest show I've ever done.
Scariest
I'm
why?
terrified for vocals. I'm
Okay.
terrified.
Just Freddie was fucking
He
insane.
sang his face off. And
Yeah.
that is not my voice, but I will kill it
He
as much as
kills
I can.
it every single night in
You-
rehearsal. So.
I'm so terrified. So
Same.
every night will be scary. Like, every time I do a show, I'm always like, by the time we open, I'm like comfortable. I don't think I'll be comfortable with this show.
I feel that with the one song. Yes, I get that.
Is
So-
that
But you have a million of those, so I get it.
So
is that exciting at all?
it is exciting.
Sure.
I do. That's what's holding me
challenge.
on. Like,
It's like a big
Come on,
challenge
yeah.
for you.
Yeah.
so
Cool.
good challenge. Come see us.
Don't expect
see
anything
it.
crazy with the script, but
Great or
like,
fail.
some of the dance numbers that have been put together and just how the ensemble sounds on some of these things, like as we're going, like it's gonna like melt your face off.
I'm just
like.
excited too because this is going to be one that the audience, like, there's no way that we're not going to have some connections with audiences that we have not had in so many other shows. That we're going to have connections with them.
The end when we just keep singing, or we're going to rock your face.
We're
off
going to like force them to love us, so you're going to have to. So come and try to not love us because you will.
Ooh, there's a challenge.
Bohemian Rhapsody at the end.
Yeah.
Enjoy.
Spoiler!
I know,
Bohemian Rhapsody is in this show.
I have no idea.
Anyway,
what's Queen?
Perfect. Well, yes, come see us. We open May.
I think.
We
Four
open
beautiful girls.
We open May 3rd and run through the
May
18th. Okay, so yeah.
And then we go to Hawaii after.
And I go to St. George. Oh, you're just going.
No, you're going to Hawaii with us.
We're going to Hawaii right after.
I can't
Cody's
wait.
coming to Hawaii with us.
I'll be there.
Yeah.
I'll be there.
And before we go, I had one more question. This comes to us from a fan of the podcast. Her name is Tasha.
Oh,
She-
I don't know her.
We kind of already discussed this, but I promised I would tell her.
I know you,
have her
Tosh. I
ask you
love you,
this.
Tosh.
Tasha Gary asks for your thoughts on children's choirs or groups of children singing. He rolled his eyes.
Of course, she will ask that.
We should have gotten a picture of that.
Literally hate. I cannot stand a child choir. I cannot stand children singing.
Oh my God.
You sing all you want, children, in your home. Wait till you have hit puberty, maybe 12 to 14, then I'll listen to you.
So are you saying that when your kid has like these
Yuck.
performances, you're not going?
Absolutely. No, my child will not be singing until they're 14.
I love it.
At the oldest, as a boy.
What if they
they're a girl, maybe a
What
little
if they
younger.
suck so much because they haven't been allowed to sing in a public
Sing in your
shit.
room. Sing in your room. Think of.
karaoke machine?
I'm
what I
trying
did.
to think of that. There's a Christmas song that I hate so much. Christmas Shoes or something. And there's a child choir.
Oh yeah.
So I wanna buy these shoes.
Oh, I hate that song.
Absolutely not. Nope. Thanks, Tosh.
All
Love
right.
you so much.
On that note, this has been the Midvale Main Street Theater Podcast. Thank you so much, guys. We'll see you later. As always, the Midvale Main Street Theater Podcast is sponsored, funnily enough, by the Midvale Main Street Theater. Check out new and exciting updates on everything going on at the Midvale Main Street Theater by going to www.midvaletheater.com or check them out on Facebook and Instagram at Midvale Main Street Theater. You can find show notes and much more by going to our podcast's Facebook page at facebook.com/MMSTpodcast. Special thanks to Ashley Howell, Joel Clark, and Matthew Petrucci for help making this show happen. I owe you guys the world. I've been Michael Howell, and this has been the Midvale Main Street Theater Podcast. The views expressed have been mine alone and do not necessarily reflect the views of the Midvale Main Street Theater, its owners, or volunteers. If you've liked what you've heard today, please consider finding the Midvale Main Street Theater Podcast on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, or whatever podcast listener you're using and dropping us a 5-star review. You can also find us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at MMST Podcast. Thank you very much, and until next time, we'll see ya.